What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is your boy Dwayne with Black Men Unfiltered. Hey, it's Reaction Friday, and guess who I got in the building today? The one, the motherfucking only. Lance in the building. Lance, give it up for Lance. Say something. Say something to the people. Say something to the people. You muted. You muted. See that? He's starting out bad already.
Me, we was just talking. Quit trying to censor me already. I ain't even got it out yet.
Got nothing to do with that. Well, say something to the people. They ain't hear you.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Blessed and highly favored. Glad to lend my opinion.
Now
on today, what I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah. I ain't gonna tell nobody nothing. I didn't tell Mother. It turned out very good on Mother last week. Did you get a chance to watch it?
I did. I watched part of it. It was very good. Very, very good.
Singing hoe, playing the piano hoe. I said, whoa.
But did we do any research on what that happened to him since? Because I don't know many people that can talk about it pass a wife and just walk off stage without a limp.
Man, he's still doing the same thing right now. But so our topic today, our reaction today goes a little something like this: destroy the man who tells the truth. Lance, what you think that means? What does that mean to you?
I have no clue. It's full of a lot of a mystery wrapped in enigma. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So what that means is people these days, people that are known for telling the truth and doing what they're supposed to do, are calling out things that don't really mean, calling out the things that people are taking to a whole nother level with dumb stuff and stuff that's happening in the world. People are calling out things, and people don't like the way people are calling out things. And people don't like people like me. People don't like people like you sometimes, Lance, where they're just calling out. You're just calling out what you see. And and most men, especially if you have any stature or any money, most men that tell the truth, they cancel them. Dave Chappelle, they're trying to cancel Dave, but Dave don't even care. Dave's at a point he don't care about being canceled. He's made enough money. He's got $200-300 million. He didn't care about that. So, I don't care about it either. I'm gonna say what I want to say. I'm not up there with Dave at all. Nowhere near the stretch of the imagination. However, I'm gonna say what I feel too. It's simple. But today, I wanted you to see something. You're familiar with Fox Soul, right?
Yes.
And Claudia Jordan, right? How do you feel about Claudia?
I don't know about Claudia.
Yeah, I don't like Claudia. I don't like Claudia either. It's just something about her that's so fake. It's like every time she does something, it's like she's trying to fit in. I don't like Claudia.
I think everybody's trying to fit in at some point.
I don't know about all that shit. But anyway, so Claudia had something to say, and I'm gonna let you watch it, and then once you see who she's talking about, then you'll know who we talking about today.
Okay.
So here we go. All right.
Speaking of relationships that were doomed from the start, last week, Instagram model Brittany Renner, we talked about her coming under fire for posting "Hide Your Son"
Can you hear it, Lance?
During a visit to Jackson State University. Well, recently Renner surprised everyone on social media by making an appearance with dating guru. I can't even say that with a straight face. Dating guru Kevin Samuels, who has controversies of his own, posted an Instagram story with Renner and wrote, "Let me just leave this right here." What do you think Renner up to outside of social media? So do you think they could actually ever really be a thing?
Child.
I can't hear nothing.
You can't hear nothing?
Mm-mm. I didn't hear nothing after say could they actually be a thing? There we go.
I know what they was doing together.
Can you hear now?
Yeah.
She was over there giving him advice on how he could attract a high value man. That's what they was over there. That she was over there coaching his ass on how he can attract a high value man. Over there. Oh God! Al, what you think they was doing?
Look, I think this is. I am fascinated by this young lady. I've said this before on this show. I don't have a lot to say about what the two of them are doing, but I'm gonna stay tuned. I want to know. But basketball wise people, like you say, basketball wise people, like I told y'all, you need to give this girl a call. She is exciting, she's engaging, and I think she would be a perfect addition to Basketball Wives LA.
So with Kevin Samuels.
That part, exactly.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey.
Even though you denied, you turned down coming on my show because you didn't want that smoke, we would have had a good old time, Kevin Samuels. We would have had fun. I think Kevin Samuels, we would have had a good old time, Kevin Samuels. All right, moving on. Okay. A lot.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
What's the reason for that?
Why she would have had a good old time having him on the show?
No. All the stuff they said before that.
I mean, it cut out on part of what the dude said. I mean, the other dude was basically, complimenting Kevin, but I don't understand the problem. Like, did she post a picture of them together?
No, basically they're saying that the reason that he was out with Brittany Renner is because he's gay and he's trying to find clothes, and she was helping him find clothes. And then the other guy says the same thing. Then Claudia comes in and says he would be a good addition to Housewives, and and he didn't want that smoke. No, Claudia, you don't want that.
I mean, you went on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, Claudia don't want that smoke. That's what it is.
So what do you think that they really an item?
Maybe. Maybe.
Is that a maybe? As in he's a very eligible bachelor, and it's possible because he's very desirable for many women, or is that a maybe because we're not sure of his sexuality?
Well, no. I personally do not think the dude gay, bro. I think that's and for you to be a homosexual man, Lance, I think it's disrespectful to your community when people get so mad at a person for telling the truth that they'll put this stigma on people. If a man's telling the truth like that, he got to be gay. He got to be gay. If a man's standing up for black men, he got to be gay. He got to be gay.
That's not necessarily true. I don't think anybody thinks you're gay. I certainly don't.
Right, but
I never have.
But think about this though. What if I was on Kevin's level, making? Because they said YouTube saying that he's making $300,000 a month, 280, 300 a month. So when you start to get up in that high echelon of money and making that kind of bread, people are going to say that about you. They want to bring you down to their level to say, hey, we control you, but shit. Kevin has a trifecta right now. He has 1 million followers on YouTube, 1 million followers on Facebook, 1 million followers on Instagram. He balling out. But anyway, I wanted you to hear what they're saying, and then I want you to try to understand why they say it. And so this video right here, you've never heard this before, and I want to let you hear for all the people out there that be saying what they say and all this stupid stuff they be saying. I want you to hear how he speaks when he's not really telling women they look like linebackers or running backs and they can run through the A-gap. All right? Because that shit was funny. But watch this. Let me.
He did say she looked like a linebacker. That was fucked up. That was fucked up. And if you're gonna make comments like that, expect people to say you done had a fucking probe in your ass and you just got sent into outer space.
Yeah. So right here, this guy right here, his name. Well, they on YouTube it's TLA. So shout out to TLA if he ever sees this, because I'm on some of the platforms that he's on sometimes. I never got a chance to talk to him though, not yet, but I'm on my way. But he has a huge following on Facebook. He's a 21-year lawyer. And this young lady in the videos is also a lawyer. They're attorneys. They're not dating. A lot of people want them to date, but they're not dating. But Kevin happened to be in his comments. And in his comments, he's like, is that Kevin? And he was like, oh, let's bring Kevin on the show. Let's bring Kevin. So he was excited to even have Kevin in his comments, and he brought Kevin on. And this is what Kevin had to say. This is what we're going to respond to.
Father in the house, making a double appearance. How are you doing, Kevin Samuels?
I am well. In between sessions, it's just funny. I just got off session with a Harvard-educated attorney.
Wow.
Yeah. So here's the thing. You guys are talking. You're discussing education and things like that. And what I think a lot of women need to understand is something called attraction symmetry. Most often women are wanting because here's the reality, because they don't have what we want. They're trying to make what they have substitute. It's like if you don't accept currency, well, I want to buy this car. We'll accept US dollars and euros. Well, I've got pesos, or I got a yen. We don't accept that. Well, we can convert it. It doesn't convert. What you have does not convert to what we want. And what men have always wanted in women: fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive. Submission is respectful cooperation, and childless. That's what matters to men across the board. And the higher up you go, the more restrictive it becomes. Now, what you typically don't hear is women who have those things and their education being single.
Wow, that's true.
They don't tend to find, because there's a subset of women who I've defined as.
All right, we'll stop right there. Lance, what you think so far?
I think he's correct. I think there is absolutely a idealism behind what men and women think they want or should aspire to have in a relationship. But the thing with Kevin Samuels that always trips me out is, are you talking about attraction, or are you talking about lifelong, like, partnership? Because I think for anybody who has been with somebody for a while, they'll tell you that their partner 9 times out of 10 probably wasn't what they expected at all, and gave them qualities that they need. And I think that's the stuff that makes a relationship last, is like finding out that somebody has something that you need. I see lots of successful people and lots of women who are well educated who completely put their families first and will straight up tell their boss, like, no, I can't do that. I have to go to my son's game, or I have to go to my daughter's, play. Like, that's, I've definitely seen that before. And there was a point in time where, and it still is now, where like men don't really respect that because they have this idealized version of like where women should be. Now, whether it works or not, I mean, that's a whole different thing. You have to get to the root of why we want that in the first place.
Right. So, and I think that, like I said again, even starting this video out, look at what listen how intelligent he's speaking about. What if you didn't know him, and from his celebrity status, you would look at him and be like, hey man, like this dude here on top of his game, bro. But
he ain't called nobody a rhino with makeup on yet, though.
Yeah, he haven't, but
and that's the thing. When you start saying stuff like that, when you start being judgmental, people start being judgmental. Judgment begots judgment.
Hey,
so
Brianna.
I mean,
what's up, Brianna? So we'll go ahead and we'll get back to the video. I'll stop it in another probably 30 seconds. Here we go.
Nice modern women, and these women often call themselves traditional, but you're not traditional. Let me explain why. Traditional women, men are not an option; they're a requirement, because family is paramount. If you're a traditional woman, you were raised to value family above self. So the likelihood of you reaching age 27 and being unmarried is unlikely for true traditional women. There's not a matter of I'll do it afterwards. This is why you find so many women who are from different cultures who start to prioritize relationship. They all go to college. They go to college, but in our community, Black women have been told to take your 20s for yourself, where they think 26 is young for marriage, when actually 27 is old for marriage. What I'm going to be talking about going forward is what's going on in China and the impact of their attempt to socially engineer a population is devastating them. But in China, women over 27 are called shengyi, leftover women. Right. Leftover women, women who may be young for a human, but old for marriage, and old for several reasons. One, the biology. It amazes me how many times I hear women who are who are late 20s, early 30s, all wanting to have 2 or 3 kids. It's like, okay, well then, who's going to raise these children? Because you ask her, do you want to work to pay significant bills? Oh, no, I don't know, not a problem. But when I ask, what percentage of the overall family financial load do you want to have to be responsible for a lifetime? Inevitably, it's less than 20%. Then you want to have a middle class and upper middle class lifestyle. That's when the numbers and everything start to come out. It's like you want a man who's earning the kind of money to where your money, if you stop working, would not impact the man. And you want to be able to do this at a later age. And my thing is this: the men you want something from a woman, and a younger woman who because I only deal with educated women, but I don't deal with women whose education is paramount to them to where they're on partner track, such and so forth, because I don't have to. I don't have to. And there are plenty of women who follow me who will who come on and say, I was going down that path. But then when I found the guy that I knew that I should be with, I would decide to go down his path. And that's why she's married to a cardiac surgeon right now.
I'll let you go, Lance.
That don't make no sense to me. Okay, so if you're a man and you know what you want, it's perfectly fine for you to have a traditional woman. I have a cousin, he met his wife in college. They were both going to school to be teachers. She agreed with him, and he agreed with her because she was traditional as well, that they wanted, the atypical life. She wanted to quit. Like she wanted to graduate, be educated, and she wanted to stay home and be a housewife, which is perfectly fine. But I mean, you mix in like times though, like to be ignorant that people have other dreams and desires that they want to obtain regardless of what society says. Like you can't sit there and just deny that, and they might feel like they made a mistake later. There's lots of decisions that we make that we feel like we shouldn't have made. People we hear say, I got married so young. I got married at 19, had these kids, and I'm so grateful. I love my kids, but I just, they don't want to say, I think me holding my kids, held me back. Also, we have to look at the fact that there's more pressure to be financially in debt. We didn't know that then, but now we know that that's been a goal of America, to keep people perpetually in debt constantly. So it's kind of hard to even really choose between having a family and then what you want to do for yourself. And then there's the selfish agenda that they push. It's like I said last week, or a few days ago, there used to be a time where kids were all that mattered. Family was all that mattered. That was a whole man's worth, knowing that he was taking care of all of these people and they all depended on him.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
there was all the woman's worth, knowing that. Now, whether that shouldn't be their worth anymore, their full worth or not, that's up to them. But there was also a time where people were having kids just for the benefit of their own future. You have 12, 13 kids because you have a farm. Like that was part of your crew. You were creating your crew. So I mean, it really depends on like what you feel like what's valuable in your life. And then there are some people that change up on you in the middle of a plan y'all made together. Like, and I don't like the way he said that. He decided to follow, he decided to follow him. She decided to follow him. No, they made a plan together. She decided to follow they. And there are people that give up on you in the middle of a lifelong plan. I mean, what do you do then? What do you say about that woman when that dude gives up on her?
Well, see, but we can't look at it negatively like that either, though. We can't say all. We can say some, like y'all tell me. You can't say all. So let's say some. Some dudes may be like that. Some women may be led astray. That is correct. However, there are some women out there that have followed their men, and their men have walked right into. Let me give you an example. Anton Daniels, the guy that's on Anton Network, on the Lapeef Network, he talks about it all the time about how his wife said he met her in high school, when they both were in high school. And I didn't start dating till after college. I think it was mid-college or something. And during that time, he said that, you know, they start dating. He had nothing. He's broke. He said he remember walking the streets trying to hustle money to pay the rent. And because he couldn't get a job at the time. And his wife, he would come home and she would rub his feet. And she would didn't ask him nothing. He said when she came in, when he came in, she connected with him mentally, and she would sit him down and rub his feet and oil his body and just massage his feet, because she knew he was out in those streets all day he was a salesperson trying to sell different things, and he was failing miserably. And so she would rub him and make sure he was good to go, because she knew the next day he was going to be right back out there in those streets. Well, right now, Anton is a multi-millionaire. And when we're on the show with him, either backstage or on stage with him, he's so humble about it. He's arrogant as shit because he earned it. But he's so humble about it that his wife will never, ever be able. He said, my wife would never work for a man. He said the way she was there for me, he said she gave up her dream of being a nurse. She wanted to go be a nurse. She gave up her dream to support his. And for that reason, he's a multimillionaire, and now she has to do nothing but shop till she drive that Porsche he just bought her, right? And so sometimes in those situations, Anton, I'm trying to get him sober. He's so busy. I'm trying to get him on the show one Tuesday. But to see that broke, almost in a cardboard box on the street, to now multimillionaire, and this woman stuck with you and that was there with you, and she said, forget my dreams. I'm going to follow yours because you're my leader. And now the benefits of that are great. The benefits of that are great.
You can look at the benefits all of you want of this one man. I'm not saying there's not men out there constantly that do that. There are a lot of great men that struggle at first, and then, you know, all you need is just one opportunity. Really, right. All you need is one opportunity, one decision away from changing your entire life every single day. And as long as you prepare for it and ready for it, you can do that. But it's the prepared for it. It's the ready for it. It's the plan. He probably created a plan, and she was like, this sounds like a good plan. I'm putting my trust in you for us. But a lot of situations like that, it's not like, I mean, there are women out here who are staying with men regardless of whether they have a plan or not, because they're supposed to. But you got to realize, back in the day, you know who used to observe your plan? Your parents. You didn't get a step in the door without having a plan at all. And they had to see that leader in you before they would even give you permission for their daughter to follow you.
But hold on a second. I have to push back on that a little bit, because let me tell you what I've experienced with my grandmother and my grandfather. With that situation, my grandmother would tell us stories. She's still alive now. My grandfather has passed on. God bless his soul. But my grandmother would tell us, me and your grandfather, before he got this big gig working on the pipeline for 30 some years, my grandmother said that she would press hair for 50 cents a head. He would go out in the chicken coop and sell a dozen of eggs, $1 a dozen, and that's how they paid their bills. That's how they saved money until she became dietary nurse at this place for the elderly, and he became this pipeline guy that was gone 6 months out of the year. That would at that time in the 60s and 70s making $2,000 a week. Do you know how much money that was back then?
Right.
And so they started out. My grandmother said she used to sit up and cry sometimes just to impressing people's hair and getting 50 cents a head because she didn't know what the next move was. So,
but she didn't have. But what else did she have?
She had. My grandmother's the oldest of 22 kids.
What else did she have but those kids? What other opportunities did your Black female grandmother have in the 60s?
Nothing. My grandfather didn't either, though. He was a Black man in the 60s.
He was still a man. And as much as you think Black counted against him not having a vagina counted more against him. Counted more against her. I mean, he was still a man. There was still a symmetry there where men would those who weren't just like complete bigoted, racist, assholes, they would still respectfully respect that man as a man. They might pay him lower wages, but they would definitely respect that he has a family to take care of. And the essential marriage idea itself, that value was still very much stronghold in the community and in the United States. It was the dream. And in case you didn't notice, the government has been banking off of that dream. We do not stay in a fair market like we used to. People are having to house together just out of convenience, which is causing them to end up in relationships they shouldn't have been in the first place.
But let me interrupt you right there for a second. Lance, I'm gonna tell you something. When I was a kid, sometimes I think about it now as a grown man. I'm about to be 38 in a week. Some back in the day, I think back in my childhood, I miss the structure of family so bad, Lance, that I go back and watch shows that put me into that feeling. I go back and watch In the Heat of the Night, 227, Golden Girls. I put myself back in these 80s and 90s movies and pictures and seeing different stuff, and I'm amazed by it. When I see older buildings that used to be there, where they used to thrive, and I just love it. You know why? Because in those times, in those moments, Lance, family was so well put together. It was, some families were toxic. No, all families weren't perfect. But man, the family structure, when Christmas was there, you saw daddy and mama, grandma, granddaddy, auntie, uncle, picking up toys, everybody celebrating, eating at the table together. All that shit is gone. It's not like it used to be. It's not like, because we have so many distractions right now. Most men used to hide. Most men used to hide and look at Playboy books. Now they walk around
porn on demand
in their hand, right? And so there's not even privacy to sin anymore. I don't know what the hell you want to do, right?
But you say that, but you make that statement, and then retrospectively you try to make women feel bad for dressing a certain way. Don't you understand that? I fully believe that women fully desire the traditional role that you speak of. I do. I think most women, they want that too. And I think a part of them, like, never thinking that they could have that, it makes them sad. I think it makes them upset. I don't want to speak for every single woman. There are a lot of women that were raised not to even, or there are a lot of women that have that like maternal gene in them. There's a lot of women that were raised to believe that that's not even a possibility. It very much is. But those women don't honestly feel that they're going to just be able to wait on that like people tell you to. You know, it used to be a time where people waited to do certain things before they moved into a next step. But that's not what it is anymore. So we can't.
Everything is microwave. Everything is quick now. Everything has to be almost immediate now. And how many mistakes are people making by doing this?
Which is why I go so hard. Why I go so hard on men, because especially Black men, like you say, we're born to be leaders. I can agree to that, but leaders have to make that sacrifice. You want your women.
And when you say sacrifice, define that sacrifice. What do you mean when you say sacrifice?
You want to be a leader, you got to lead by example. Period. I mean, because let's be honest, there's a lot of black dudes out here that, you know, are smashing and shit because there's a lot of insecure women out here. I do feel like that there's a part of a woman that wants to be led and a part of a man that needs to be a leader. Right. I believe that definitely is possible. There is something so beautiful about the traditional setup, just because being in agreement and then having that structure like already built up and then having a community that supports that structure is amazing. It was one of the great things about church. But at the same time, you can't be the thing I feel like the church messed up on is they were ignorant to the change, or not ignorant, but they were against the change around them. So they decided to try to blind themselves. And then they brought in more judgment, and more judgment begot more judgment. And then more often than not, people started caring about what they were going to get individually because they weren't getting the whole community approval.
Right. And I agree with you. I do think the church has dropped the ball. And the reason for that is because, again, I think church has become a time capsule. I think that the church is so traditional in their beliefs and what they believe, because now things have changed a lot, and a lot of things I won't bend on because I think is morals are morals. But I think that even when little girls go out, and say for instance my daughter would go out back in the church, in the traditional church, which some of these churches still exist in high numbers. But if my daughter is 16 years old, 14 years old, God forbid, thank you Jesus, hallelujah, that my daughter was pregnant, and the church would shun her. They would get in front of the church and pray over her and say she was a slut, a tramp. Like they would actually do things like that to little girls. And I'm like, sometimes I just couldn't believe. I'm like, damn, wait a minute. Would God do that? Like if Jesus was walking around here right now, would Jesus really walk up to this girl and say, you slut? Because then I start thinking about the woman at the well when she walked up to Jesus, and I numerically put this together. She had slept with 6 men that were married men, that were husbands, the other women's husbands. And then she saw Jesus and she looked at Jesus and said, damn, he fine. I want him too. And so she walked up to Jesus and said, can I get you some water? Would you like something to drink? And Jesus looked at her and said, listen, I know what you are. I know what you're doing. And I know the men that you're sleeping with are not your husband. Even the one you just left in there is not your husband. Right? And she was like, whoa, like looked at him like, whoa. But then when she met Jesus, he was man number 7. That was the number of completion. He completed her by saying, you don't have, see, but in today's time, Jesus will be canceled because you don't say nothing to a woman how a woman puts herself out there. Jesus told this woman in it, he said, you are a whore, you're sleeping with all these men, and the man that you're in there with right now is not your husband. But then when the men came, right, to throw stones and to kill her, he said, ye who have no sin, cast the first stone.
But
right?
see, what Jesus didn't do was stick his heavenly dick inside of her nut and then get up and then talked about her afterwards, or somebody like her afterwards, as if he didn't enjoy her sin. That's the thing. Like, what if men actually led? What would happen if y'all got to the bedroom? She done had a little bit of drink. You done had a little bit of drink. Y'all done got to the house. Nobody got no condom or nothing, because I think everybody knows how nigga love the raw dog. And right before he put that thing in her, he looked at her and said, you know, you deserve better than this.
Oh, man.
And just stopped. Got up, prayed, put his clothes back on, prayed with her, and walked out. What would happen if men actually led like that? What would happen? If you are the leader, you have to create the change. I'm not saying everything's a man's fault. I mean, niggas got killed. A lot of them.
Yes.
No, I can't say killed. They were assassinated. As a race, we were assassinated for a while.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to come back to that, and that's gonna take like, if you believe that, I believe it too. But you gotta be traditional all the way. Why is your woman working in the first place? You're supposed to have a plan to make sure any woman you got was going to be at home anyway.
Whoa. I'm going to have to push back on that. But first, I want to say, Sir Hell Speaks. What's up, man? I appreciate you watching, bro. Continue to watch, man. We'll continue to bring you all the content. Everybody in the comments, Brianna, that's always here. Kaylin, she's a huge supporter of the channel. But Sir Hell Speaks, man, welcome, bro. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being a part of the team too, man. But back to what I was saying, you know, and if you're watching for the first time, please hit the subscribe button and the like button. But back to what I was saying, though, Lance, I got to push back on the women should stay at home. There is nowhere biblically that it says a woman's supposed to stay home. It is not in the Bible. It's nowhere in there. Period.
You're correct. Everybody in the Bible, everybody in every family worked.
Yes.
And something, you worked doing something.
Yeah. And even
if you was at home, you was still tending to a field or something. And it didn't matter if you were a woman or not.
Absolutely. And so my thing is, even going back to what we said a few weeks ago, a lot of Black women, after this white pastor, I forgot his name. He's an excellent speaker, so I'm not going to try to disrespect him. But he talked about women getting them a Boaz. And he said, get you a Boaz, not a Poaz, not a broke ass. Like he went down the whole list of get you a Boaz. And in the Bible, Boaz was this very strong, intelligent, brutally strong, sexy man. He was a very attractive man, and he was wanted by many. And so, but he never picked the women that were dressed any kind of way. He never picked the harlots, because in the Bible, whores were harlots or women of the night. So he never picked the harlots. Right? He had an opportunity to sleep with all the heart. He never did. The women that dressed promiscuous, he passed them right by. Right?
Now, let me ask you this, though. Why were there harlots? Because in the Bible, if your husband died, or if you were without a man, you were of no value. Correct?
Hold on. Let me push back.
If your husband died, you got passed on to his brother.
Exactly.
That brother died, you got passed on to his brother.
There you go. Exactly.
Where are the brothers?
Now we right. Now we good.
Where are the brothers? And it was that systemic ideology that created what they thought was a need. And this is before they knew they could call out to God. They didn't know they could call out. There was no God to just really call out to. This was under Roman rule, mind you. So this was a whole different era where God's power and his influence and his son had not yet come down to say to them, it doesn't matter what you're going through, you can still stick to the word. And oh, by the way, this is the word. You know, I mean, that was a whole different time. But it's not so different, because as you said, one man to every 13 women. Out of 13 women, somebody gonna be a hoe, because you can't split this man up 13 ways no matter how you try.
Right.
So I mean, what's supposed to happen then?
Back in the day,
we're supposed to procreate. Well, that's what the women have been doing, actually.
But back
if you think about it, they're the thing that's actually giving us more men. And then we complain about the quality of men that they produce because we don't have the brothers to pass down when the husband's gone, because the husband's role was all of a sudden like not important, which is horrible. I hate that. I hate that for our culture, that there's so many of us that have been killed, and then drug epidemic and war, and then just the white on black crime that we've had and continue to have to this day. I mean, they try to make it damn near impossible for us to try to set up a traditional household, but that's not for lack of effort from Black men or women. That's because of it. We're born in a society that has us thinking on a grand scale that we don't need anybody else. And that's the problem. A man there was never an idea back in the day. There was never an idea that a man needed anything but a family.
Right. And see, and that's the thing. And it was so eloquent to read some of the things that are in the Bible, and some of the things that that was said. And I even pulled up here. It says a wife, a noble character. So if anybody's Bible reader or goes in the Bible, everybody's not religious, and I'm not trying to force anything down your throat. However, it says a wife, a noble character. And then it says, this is the question that I posed the other night. who can find a virtuous and capable wife? It asks a question, who can find her? So every woman's not built for that. Every woman's not going to be taking care of you, nurturing your children, and loving you unconditionally. Because like Chris Rock said, Chris Rock had a very good point on his stand-up on Netflix. He said the only three things in life that are that are loved unconditionally are children, women, and dogs. He said men are only only unconditionally loved on what they can provide.
The only people that are unconditionally loved are children for the most part. There's not a woman that's unconditionally. There's not a wife there's not a wife in this world that's unconditionally loved. She's wifey because she did something for it. He didn't just see her and was like, I'm gonna love you forever, and I don't know why, but I'm just gonna love you with no conditions, no requirements, no requests. That never happened, and that is literally the definition of unconditional love. The only people that love us unconditionally is God and our parents.
Unconditional love, it can come from anybody. Let me give you an example. A woman can go out and be very, very promiscuous. And when she's promiscuous, she'll come in, her friends will know, she'll get exposed or something. And what do the women do? Oh my God, girl, she's going through something. Her daddy wasn't in her life. She slept with all these men for a reason. It's okay. We're here for you. We're gonna pray for you. We're gonna pray over you. We're here for you, girl. We're not gonna let you suffer. Everything's gonna be fine. Oh my God, we love you so much. It doesn't matter. We all have been through something. A man is being promiscuous. Hoe, bitch ass nigga. He fucking all these hoes. He ain't nothing but a fucking dog. He this and he that. Women, dude, women are loved unconditionally. Whether it's by a man, by a woman, or by children, they're loved unconditionally based on the fact that nobody holds them account. Ain't nobody gonna go up to a crying girl at the altar and say, stop being a hoe then. But the men, all dogs. Bitch ass niggas out here just laying dick in everybody. That's what we.
Isn't someone gonna go up to the altar and say something to the dudes? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, the women. Ain't no women gonna run up to no man at the altar talking about, oh, it's okay that you dick down half the city. It's fine. We love you. We care for you. Things are gonna change in your favor. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be okay. No, but
see, that's what I don't like about your examples. You're always going to some extremities. Why couldn't they just slept with like 5 or 6 people and and 2 of them happen to talk and then someone assumed that they were sleeping with everybody? Or what I have seen also is men get rejected, say they smashed the bitch, and then everybody think that they actually fucked somebody. Yes, both sides do that. Both sides. But when it comes down to it, if only one person was virtuous, if one out of those 2 decided to heed to their morals, then that wouldn't have ever happened.
Okay. So let's go back. so let me read this. Let me read this because this is important, and then we'll get back to the video. It says it's just so well written. Who can find a virtuous and capable wife? She is more precious than rubies. Her husband can trust her, and she will greatly enrich his life. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She finds wool and flax and busily spins it. This is a working woman. You hear this? She is like a merchant ship bringing food from afar. So that means she's very resourceful. She gets up before dawn to prepare breakfast for her household, husband, children, and plan the day's work. Right? She goes to inspect a field and buys it. With her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She is energetic and strong, a hard worker. She makes sure her dealings are profitable. Her lamp burns late into the night. That means she's always got a plan to uplift her man, always got a plan to be there for her man financially, spiritually, mentally, sexually, right? Her hands are busy spinning thread. Her fingers are twisting fibers. She extends a helping hand to the poor. So that means not only is she good for her household and her husband, but she's also a pillar in the community. She extends
Sounds like a true angel.
Yes, she has no fear of winter for her household. Everybody will be warm. She makes her own bedspreads. She dresses in fine linen and gowns.
We doing Old Testament.
Her husband is, right. Her husband, that means when she goes somewhere, she's gonna be fit, fine, submissive. You see? I'm just saying this is Bible. And then it says she makes belted linen and garments. Okay, whatever. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She laughs without fear of the future. When she speaks, her words are wise, and she gives instructions with kindness. Not no bitch, you don't. And she carefully watches everything in her household and suffers nothing from laziness. Her children stand and bless her. Her husband praises her. There are many virtuous and capable women in the world, but she will surpass them all. Charm is deceptive and beauty does not last, but a woman who fears the Lord will be greatly praised. Reward her for all that she does and let her deeds be publicly known. So not only does she bring that to you, you celebrate her. You let everybody know, this is my woman. She takes care of my children. She nurtures the children. She works. She goes and buys things that she invests into our family, into our lives, into our children. And that's why the first line is so important. It says a virtuous woman. Who can find one? Who?
Okay. So is it to say that someone can't be virtuous in current or present then just because of their past?
Yeah, hold on a second, because I want to address one of my supporters here on the hold on. Okay, so Sir Hell says it's truth. Okay, read up a few verses up. I agree with you, sir, because watch this. Verse 1 says, the sayings of a king contains this message. O son of my womb, a son of my vows, do not waste your strength on women, on those who ruin kings. Oh, watch this. Oh, I like this, Sir Hell. So let me go up. Verse 3. Do not waste your strength on women who do not waste your strength on women who ruins kings. It is not for kings to guzzle wine. Rulers should not crave alcohol, for if they drink, they may forget the law and give justice to the oppressed. Alcohol is for dying, and wine is for those in bitter distress. Let them drink to forget their poverty and remember their troubles no more. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Ensure justice for those being crushed. Yes, speak up for the poor, the helpless, and see that they get justice.
It's beautiful scripture. Beautiful scripture.
I love it.
And it can be done. But we're talking about kings, okay? We're talking about someone who holds themselves at a high regard, who looks in the mirror and says, I can't even pretend like I'm gonna go smash this girl because I've got more respect for myself. Now, what would happen if a king did enter a woman's household, saw that she wasn't virtuous, but still fucked her anyway? Does that make him less of a king? Does that make her less of a woman?
Right. Now,
if you truly feel like the Bible that women were created for a man, so in essence, they are followers. They're leaders too, but they're followers. Then how can you honestly blame a woman for anything?
Yeah, and sometimes when it comes to the whole, and let me separate my thought process here. When it comes to marriage and when it comes to dating, my mindset is completely different. I think in marriage there should be pure leadership where the man leads, he takes care of his family. Also, I believe when a man is down, a woman is supposed to be his biggest supporter, like this chapter says. When a king is down, like King David looked across and saw Bathsheba taking a bath. He told one of his servants, go get her. Now, in today's terms, he would have said, go get that motherfucker. She fine as shit, right? They bring Bathsheba over. He has sex with Bathsheba. Bathsheba goes home. She pregnant. Oh, she pregnant. Go out there to the field and get her husband. They go to the war. Her husband said, I don't want to go back. He said, yeah, you got to go back. The king has summoned you. David had a plan. Go down there. You're done with the war. Go down there and have sex with your wife. She needs her husband. What David didn't know is that he slept at the door and never went in and touched his wife. So David said, you know what? Since you don't want to do what I tell you to do, take him back out to the war, put him on the front line. He did, and they had him killed. After that, the whole tribe of children after that were cursed, right? But David had a homeboy named Nathan. And Nathan was very keen on telling him, hey, David, you wrong. I don't care if you're king. But see, because sometimes when we have the position, Have you ever been at a job and people will come to the person that sits in the cubicle and more than they go to the supervisor that's sitting up in the office?
You already know I have.
Come on. So sometimes it's the person that has less than you that can make you the best of you. And
that's the thing. But that's the thing, though. It's the people, it's the women who have discernment, that when they meet their king and they see that he is king and they see that he ain't on that shit, you don't have to have this conversation with them. Right. They completely respect your guidance because they feel respected. They completely have confidence in what your goal is because they believe in your goal. Right. They know it comes not just from you. And they know that it's something that you've thought through thoroughly, and they know that you have them in mind constantly. I mean, when you get a virtuous woman, you're gonna treat her better than she ever thought that she deserved.
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
But that is because it started with the lead of the man. And that's my only point. It's not about fault. It's not about whether it's a man's fault or a woman's fault. Mm-hmm. It's that if you're going to take if you're going to take the lead, take the lead. I mean, and the Bible's the blueprint. If you don't want to go by the blueprint, that's fine. You can go by any blueprint that you want to, but it should be something that's well thought out, and it should be something that somebody can believe in, that somebody can look at and see a true king in that plan. But that's not what's happening today. There are women that are unvirtuous, that are single, and they're out there and they're hoeing and this, that, and the other. And there are some men out there that are really trying to be kings, and women are making it really hard because they're really trying to find something to follow. And men are trying to be leaders because they're really trying to find something to be in charge of.
But Lance, let me ask you this though, because I want to say this first, then I'll go into what I was going to say. My thing is this: even how can I say it? I feel like today, I agree with you when it comes to women are making it hard or whatever. But my thing is this: when we have different, there was a Harvard study, and I'm going to send it to you because I know you're a study guy like I am. There was a Harvard study that Time magazine paired up with and put in their magazine from a Harvard study about cultural marriage, cultural relationships, and in that they talked about our race, our black people, and how desirable we are in the world. And when it came to it, they said that the men are now submitting to the woman and bowing to the authority of the woman more now than ever before. And that is a fact. But now men are not taking the lead anymore because because back in the day, men weren't walking on eggshells. I mean what I say and I say what I mean. Today, men are, baby, whatever you like, no matter if it puts our family in debt, no matter if we go broke, I'll follow you. And so that's what's happening more today because men have been stripped of their leadership. And I've seen it a lot, not all, but some. I've seen it.
You can't be stripped of leadership. You're a leader or you're not.
Whoa. But what I'm
saying,
point
blank, nope.
When I say stripped leadership, this is what I mean. I've seen men that will not that were leaders before, but they've been broken down so bad by their wives. These are married people I'm talking about that are broken down so bad. Have you ever heard the phrase "happy wife, happy life"? Mm-hmm. So as long as she's happy, your life is okay. But it doesn't matter about how you feel. Suck that shit up. Do what she asks you to do. Get the fuck on with your life.
Does the Bible say that a king should worry about how he feels?
What do you mean? Absolutely.
I'm asking, does the Bible say anything about a king worrying about how he feels? Because from the traditional standpoint, I know kings worry about their community, their village. They worry about their village because without their village, they're not kings.
Right.
You are not a king without a village. You're a wayward man.
And you know what I was thinking just now? Reading the comments, you guys are amazing in the comments. Keep them going. I like to hear or to see different things happening. We're gonna, and every one of them are going to post on the screen, so we'll be able to see them anyway. However, I want to say this to most women will follow a certain man, but then, and that's fine, that's okay, that's accepted in society. Most women looking for a man to follow, but then when a man says, "This is what I want from a woman," he's a basher. He's a woman basher, right? Because if I come and say, you know what, I don't want no one, because the Bible specifically says in Proverbs, I don't want to turn this into a Bible study, but that's what's headed. In Proverbs, it says, it is better. This is Proverbs. It is better to sleep on the roof of your house than in the house with a quarrelsome and lunacy woman. Right?
So these dudes that are smashing these thoughts and these little ghetto bucket bitches, these microwavable, poppable bitches, are they sleeping? Are they taking them home and then saying, "Okay, here's a kiss, good night. I'm gonna go sleep on the roof"? Is that what's happening?
No. But he's saying that, and he went into a lot of other things in that scripture. You have to read it. David was very specific. He said that it is better to eat fruit with a woman you love than to have dinner and eat steak with a woman you cannot stand. Right? And so
there's a lot of people that's having steak meals out here, though. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
But they letting you know that the food's gonna be able to be served.
Right.
It's either gonna be steak or it's gonna be apple cider.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, either way, you have a choice in what you eat. You have the choice in the company that you keep. Like, you can't tell me that women are out here being so cool, coy, and smart, and that they're just deceiving every dude, getting them to come into the bedroom, smash, and then getting them entangled in like stuff. There are people that do that. There are guys and girls that do that. I'm not trying to say that there's any one person that does that. But when it comes down to it, you know you don't want to be with nobody that's been with somebody else. But yet you still give yourself to other people. You get in a marriage knowing you believe in the commitment, a lifelong commitment. But then 5 years down the line, oh, this woman's like pissing me off. Like, it's not anybody's fault. It's not anybody's fault that you didn't find out the true nature and character. You know, maybe if we didn't sleep with people like in like 3 days in, maybe if you actually waited like a good fucking 6 months, because that's what my cousin did. He saw this woman, he saw value in her, she saw value in him, and they stayed abstinent. Probably not until marriage, but for a good long time. They're one of the happiest relationships that I know. And they're an atypical, traditional, I swear to God, they're the Black Koskis. It's crazy. They have four or five now. Shit, 5 beautiful kids. Beautiful kids.
And let me say this. Let me respond to Kaylin, because Kaylin said something. She said, right. I'm making it seem like women are here making men do shit. Okay, so Kaylin, what I want you to do, because you know, Kaylin, me and you go way back. That's my girl. And so we go way back. And Kaylin, she's not a big movie watcher. She's not a big TV person. I am. I like to be affiliated with everything to know everything. I want to know a little bit about a lot and a lot about a little. And so when I watch TV and you say those comments about a woman can make a man do nothing, I'm a fan of First 48. I'm a fan of the ID channel. I'm a fan of Killer by Night, Dateline. I'm a fan of these shows. And a lot of these shows, a lot of women have made men that are corporate leaders or making good money go out and just kill mother. I want you to go out. I want you to find this man that cut me off in traffic, and I want you to go kill him. I want you to kill him. I want you to bury him. I never want to see him again. He disrespected me. Women can control men and make men do anything. And I'm telling you right now, vagina is the most vagina. If a man doesn't have self-control, a vagina is the most powerful thing on earth. So millions of men have died behind vagina. Wars have started over vagina. So we're not going to sit here and don't think that women can't control nothing. Because let me tell you this, even when it came to who got the head cut off? Who baptized Jesus? His cousin, John the Baptist.
John the Baptist?
Yes, John the Baptist. Do you know why he's got his head cut off? Because the wife, she wanted John dead so bad, she used her daughter to seduce her daddy. She said, I want you to go over there. Your daddy liked the seductive dancers over there that's half naked. I want you to go get half naked too, and I want you to go dance for him, and I want you to seduce him. And right when he was about to give her right when he was about to give her the pecker, guess what happened? She stopped the daughter. And she said, stop. Now, I will let this continue, but I have to have John's head on a platter by the morning. He said, hey, go out and find John. He about 5'3", long hair. I want him dead. The next morning, John head off his body. Right?
Do you think a peasant woman could have did that?
Huh?
Do you think a peasant woman could have did that?
Oh,
a peasant,
no.
A poor person. Do you think one of those Moors down there, that those women just in rags could have done that? I mean, they got a vagina too. Hell, it's probably tighter because I'm sure that that royal pussy was getting done into.
And I agree with Kaylin. I agree that you know what? I agree with Kaylin. Let me put it in more words though. You attract what you are. You attract what it is that you are. Whether you realize it or not, you attract what you are. And if you don't realize it, just look at the person you with, and it's a reflection. It's a reflection of who you truly are.
So you just made the same comment that you made about women. You just made it about men then, because you just said that women only mirror men, which only furthers my point that that makes them essentially true followers, and essentially they're lost looking for their leader. I mean, that's kind of the way the Bible puts it, not so as disrespectfully as I put it. But if that is the case, and the Bible is right, there is only one person responsible for the village, and that's the motherfucking king. So that's it.
Kaylin, I'm not blaming women for everything. What I'm saying to you is, because
you're saying they have power.
I know, yes, women do have power, but what I'm saying is this: we have to look at it. For years, we've been listening to for years the songs and the lyrics and the things that have been said about men in these music. And I'm not saying none of it's true. Hell, a lot of it is true. But then you have women making songs about I want a simp, because that's what they should have been saying. I want a soldier. I want a nigga. Because let me tell you what really pisses me off: that women will get on me and say, oh, you blaming everything on women. But then you go listen to the Jasmine Sullivan album, and she's singing songs about get good dick, no matter if he got a job or not. In the lyrics, I wish I could pull them up and read them to you. She's saying, go get a man. She's not the man finding her. Find you a man that's got real good, juicy, big dick, and I want you to go have sex with him. And it doesn't matter if she said it. It doesn't matter if he don't have a job. It doesn't matter if he stay with his mama, long as he give me that meat. I'm like, what the hell what is she pushing here? I mean, are you kidding me?
Being a full fan of Jasmine Sullivan, I just want to let you know. You're talking about hotels.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about the song. She talks about the honest desire and the honest attraction and a toxic attraction, like that she mentions in the song. She says, I don't know what's wrong with me too. She's like, I just can't help it.
Right.
Furthering my idea of the inferiority and them needing to follow. But besides that, if you go down to the last song, she also talks about how the guy breaks up with her for no reason at all. And she's just sitting there and she's just like, you gonna make a hoe out of me because y'all keep choosing these hoes. But here's the problem though. 13-1. That's what you said.
Yeah, that's the ratio.
Do you expect them all to stand in the line and put on their little coy motherfucking uniforms and just say, I'm waiting for the right one? Because you as a man has statistically said it won't happen. It's y'all are a contest. Go for it. I mean, that's what you're saying by saying it's 13 to 1.
But at the end of the day, I'm not, and let me say this because I don't want the females that's watching to believe that, oh, he's just a woman hater. No. There are some women out there that I just simply adore. And I adore them based off the fact of their character and the way they carry themselves and the way they nurture their children and the way they care for their husbands. And even women, there are some women out here that were so committed to their husbands. I know a woman right now in my family, I'm not going to say her name because I don't have permission to use her name. But there's a woman in my family right now, her husband died when he were the same age, when he was 39. She's never had sex again. She's never been remarried. She's staying in her house. She's still nurturing her children, taking care of children, raising her kids. Now they're grown and gone. And she's sitting there alone. She loved that. She had an attachment to that man to the point where he was a leader. And goddamn he was. And she doesn't even want to get married anymore. And they try to get her to go on a date. It's like, man, your husband dead for 20 goddamn years. When are you going to open up and let another man in here? You know, and she doesn't even sleep in the bed they slept in. She sleeps in a whole nother room in the house. Their bed has not been slept in since he died 20 fucking years ago. Ain't that crazy? She don't want to date. I don't care about no men. The only men I care about is my sons. Right? And I think that's kind of loony. I think it's kind of loony. But not loony. I think it's lunacy that you don't want to be able to love again or be able to be held again and be able to be married again. And your husband's been gone for 20 years.
She got to experience a deep oneness that doesn't compare. That one that was next to what she believes was godly. When you have something so extremely special, you wouldn't replace your mother, would you? You wouldn't replace your grandmother. Those women are extremely special to you. It's just another relationship.
Yeah, it is. You're right. I agree.
So I mean, like when you have something amazing, you wouldn't replace your kids. So why is it loony to think? And see, that's the mentality that's got people thinking that divorce is an option. That's the mentality that's got people thinking
I personally
that they can sleep with somebody and it won't break them down. Essentially, like that's the stuff. We have to believe that that's still possible, and for that to be possible, it is possible. But there are some rules that you have to adhere to. There are some things that you're going to have to exemplify, and you have to be a certain type of person. Like that would be amazing if I could find just I've got one good friend, one super good friend, just because based on time alone, I know that is going to be there for me no matter what. And I can't tell you how beyond fucking grateful I am for her. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't trade her out for anything. For anything. I have absolutely one person in my life that I know deep down to my motherfucking toes that's going to be 10 toes down for me every single time. I don't care, because I have been crazy, because I have been on drugs, because I have been an alcoholic, because I have been depressed, because I have been suicidal.
Right, hold on.
She still decided, because she knew my heart and she knew my spirit.
Right.
That I was going to be a godfather.
And I adore her. You know why? She's a female, right? I adore that female that's in your life. You know why I adore her? Because she held you, the one word that nobody does anymore. She held you accountable. She didn't encourage you. She didn't sit there and be an enabler. She didn't say, Lance, go on, stay on them drugs. You good? Let me roll one with you. She didn't.
But I also didn't have sex with her either.
Hold on.
And to say that sex doesn't complicate the very view of somebody. Sex can make you have hope and a whole idea instead of a person.
But even like Mother said, and I wish Mother was here. She's in Austin this weekend, celebrating with her family, her brother's birthday. However, I've seen, and when Mother said these words about a whole bunch of shows ago, she said she used to be one of those females until she had to go to therapy, and therapy changed her life. She said when women used to come to her and tell her they was out seeking, because there are women, and boy, I can go get my sister-in-law and she'll tell you, and she works with a whole bunch of women. I used to work in the office with a whole bunch of women. I was the only guy. And I used to hear the women say, seeking and destroying. Oh, he married. Girl, give me a month. Give me a month. I'm going to be in his pockets. Give me a month. Oh, yeah. Over there just planning to destroy this man, his life, his family, his marriage. Oh, give me a month. Oh, yeah, he resisting now. But give me a month. I'll show him. He won't come in here one day. And one girl just said, oh, yeah, his wife will piss him off one day. I'll catch him vulnerable. Just give me some time. You know, so you have men have been doing it for ages. That's no secret. But to see a woman looking at another man saying, I'm going to destroy him just because I want him inside me for about 30 seconds. It's but you know what?
It makes you think though, what is so empty inside of you that you feel like any other person can give you, no matter how temporary it is. Same thing I would say for another man. Like, what is so empty inside of you that you feel like you're going to gain from pillaging this fucking woman, like that you probably don't even like, and don't even know, and if you do know them, you probably don't even like them like that. Really, they're just easy. Who is she? Like, I mean, that's the thing that you have to, like, there's a lot of damage that's put into that on both sides. Men aren't bad because they don't know how to lead. Men don't know how to lead because they've been killing our leaders for so long. I mean, there are a lot of women out here who are angry. There are a lot of women out here. I'm not trying to make excuses for them. You have to actually, like, that's why I say you have to actually sit inside yourself. Like I said in our episode, like, I want men to sit back and just really, like, think about every single action that's keeping this, like, cataclysmic, like lifestyle possible. Women, if men feel like they're leaders, women can't fuck somebody that doesn't want to be fucked. Period. I mean, that's just the truth.
Man.
What would happen? Answer me. What would happen if the man took a girl home? She got all her clothes off, ready to give herself to him. Ready. Even though she's got all the power. She's ready to give herself to him. And he looked at her and said, no.
Yeah, there are men out there like that.
What if every man was? Because we're talking about men being leaders. There's a lot of dudes out here who are calling themselves leaders, but they're not sacrificing what it takes to be a leader.
Let me ask you this. You're absolutely correct. Lance, I don't disagree with anything you said, but I want to throw a caveat in there. I always will. So you have a man that's married, and he and his wife, denial breaks a man. Yeah. Denial, rejection breaks a man. Napoleon said that. Denial and rejection breaks a man. And what that means is a man is not remembered by the, I'm not going to say that because that's going to go into a whole nother thing. But when a man, if I'm married and my wife's in there and I'm in there touching, we've been married for 20 years. And I'm touching my wife. I mean, I'm trying to be romantic. And she's just like, oh, I'm out. Shit, I'm tired. You know, it's always an excuse, right? And then you go to work and then you're strong. And this lady's just trying to seduce you or winking at you or saying something sweet and nice to you, speaking sweet things in your ear on lunch break. Oh, you look nice today. You're handsome. That right there starts to weaken the boards of the boat. And when that boat the floor of that boat starts to get weak, you start to sink. Because when men are deprived, it messes with their psyche. And
what does sex deprive men of? What would sex deprive a married man of? Let's go deeper, because there's a psychology to this.
Well, what I'm gonna do this because I always got to go back to the word because I'm a Christian. The Bible says, "Woman, do not deprive your husband from sexual desires unless you both agree mutually."
A king husband.
No.
Who is giving everything to their family.
This is not the chapter of Kings. It talks about marriage. It says, woman, when the husband, and this is for women and men, he says, when you're married and you're becoming one and you become one, the husband's body belongs to the wife. The wife's body belongs to the husband. He said, woman, that's what it says. Do not deprive your husband from sexual desires unless you both agree. Unless you both agree to come together and pray, or you both agree not to do it. He said, but after you pray or decide not to do it, as soon as that period is over, you go back and give your husband sex because your husband will tremendously be affected with temptation. So the word of God even saying men are weak behind a woman. And you got to be able to give your man what he needs physically, sexually, spiritually. And if he's not getting that, then he starts to weaken.
I mean, I firmly believe that in both situations. Like nobody should be denying their husband or their wife essentially of what they need.
Right. Right.
I mean, but it's a marriage. If someone doesn't give you what you need, you fix it. You don't quit. You don't stop being a virtuous person just because somebody ain't giving you none of their virtue. You don't go and find more virtue. You just stay inside of your virtue. That's the whole point of having leadership in the household. Because as the Bible states, the women are supposed to follow. People who follow tend to be weary off the fucking tracks. So I mean, like it's a thing. What do you believe? Do you believe that women essentially have the strength to be independent by themselves and don't need anybody to lead them? Or do you think that essentially they are the rib from Adam and they need that leadership? They need that example in their life of someone being consistently a king to remind them that they have to be consistently a queen.
What you're saying is he has to exemplify perfection in order for her to stay connected.
God was the one that said, "Follow in the footsteps of my son." I didn't. Perfection is the goal.
So she can be imperfect, but he has to. No.
She was made incomplete. We are all made imperfect. We're all made imperfect. She was made incomplete. That's the difference.
You know what, Lance? The other night I wanted to apologize to everybody that watched the other night. And if you haven't watched, go back and watch it. If you're watching now, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share it, please. Thank you. And everybody that's in the chat room, keep the chat going because it's going to be posted up on the screen. So you know what, Lance? I lied the other night. I lied. Let me tell you what I lied about. I lied when I said, and even when artist named Chi was in here, I lied and said the Bible did not have simps. You remember that? Mm-hmm. I lied because there is a simp in the Bible, and his name was Hosea. And Hosea was a very, very huge simp. And this is what Hosea was. Hosea married this lady named Gomer. I'm sorry, I'm talking about Homer. I'm thinking about the Simpsons. Her name was Gomer. And God don't want me. The devil don't want me to tell this.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
watch that word. He said you better quote me properly.
So Gomer were together. They were married. Gomer got pregnant. Hosea's happy. She had the first baby. She got pregnant again, had the second baby. I think she had 5, right? He found that God came to him and said, your wife is a prostitute of the land. All those kids are not yours, but I want you to name them. You name those children because those children have become yours, but they're not yours. And she cheated on him and cheated on him and cheated on him and cheated on him and had all these babies by different men, and none of the babies were his, right? And so guess what happened? One day she was with the wrong man. And guess what happened?
What?
She got sold into slavery. And guess what simp came along and bought her out of slavery and remarried her and made her whole again?
Who? Gomer.
Oh,
no, why are we on Gomer though?
No, Gomer is the female. Gomer is the female.
I know. Why are we on Gomer though? Like, why are we talking about her?
What I'm saying is Hosea went and bought her out of slavery. And he brought her back and said, you're still my wife. I love you.
And you mean like God does for us and forgives us of our sins?
I agree.
The example we're supposed to be following? And that's simp. So God's a simp.
Hold on. Unconditional.
Come on.
But my question to you is, how many men would do that today? And if the roles were reversed, how many women would do it? How many women would see their husband getting arrested for for being out in the world, because it's not like that anymore, but for being out in the world and being out in the streets? How many women would go and rescue their man and stay married to him and knowing that he's put 9 babies into the field?
So I'm not going to pretend to know how many. I can tell you personally, family and otherwise, I've known some. I've known some people in my family that really doesn't had them sleep with kids or other people inside of the family, and they kept their man because that was something that we taught in our family. Husbands are essential. That's what they believe. And honestly, traditionally, I get that. I'm for that. I fucking for that. Because it shows a commitment, at least. It shows a commitment. It's a plan. They've decided this is what I need for my life. I need this man right here. He is my leader. He is my rock. Period.
Right.
And I mean, and I agree with that. If you're gonna make a commitment, then make the commitment. The Bible says there's only 3 reasons to get divorced.
Right.
And so, even then, you should be praying and counseling before you even come to that decision. And it should be a decision that's made slowly.
Exactly. And you know what, Lance? We have a great conversation, man. We didn't forget all about this video. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this video because I want to see what the people in the chat are saying. So I want to see what everybody's thinking, especially artist named Chi. You know, I really appreciate you for being here tonight, man. I see you, Brianna, man. All y'all, man. We got much love for you guys. Hey, if you're not
wait a minute, from low down to
so go ahead and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you're watching, share. If you hit the like button, and we're gonna continue on with the content. And I'm gonna pause this just to see what y'all thinking. But be in those comments. I want to hear what y'all got to say. Here we go.
Now, and she was at Harvard with him. So in the Black community, in order for professional Black women to get what they say they want, they're going to have to stop prioritizing what the men say we want.
Absolutely.
There's no negotiation.
Let me jump in right quick, because what I heard a lot when talking to Suzette today and the other days, and I think other women echo this too, is that they say, well, you know, a huge part of the reason that we women are like this is because how we were raised, you know, what our parents taught us, and you know, how we were brought up. Is there a cure for that, or what do you think?
Not the cure, TLA. Oh my, excuse me.
Well, a lot of women are in a situation that they don't want to be in.
Is there a fix for it?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's called accountability. It's like a lot of Black men weren't raised with a father, and we weren't raised to be the men. We weren't raised to be the men we are. We had to fix it. See, the stuff that we talk about over here, Shahrazad Ali and her ilk have been talking about that for the longest. Now, the problem is that when it gets right down to it, we can have these intellectual discussions back and forth, but I have spoken to thousands of women, and I have yet to have a woman honestly think that the things that we talk about really are going to impact her. I had a conversation just Tuesday. I'm going to be uploading it. That you ask the average middle class, the middle income, weren't earning mother of 2, blah, blah. Are you going to have enough to live on and retire on? And they cannot conceptualize a life that it doesn't work for them because they saw their grandmothers and aunties and everybody be okay. But what they don't realize is if you're late 30s or 40s, you saw a generation that had, you know, a stronger nuclear family, an extended family, all these other kind of things. And the notion that, you know, it's just going to work, they all think it's going to work.
Right.
Or else, why are they moving? Why are the women who seem to have all this reluctance moving in such a lackadaisical way?
Yeah. Do you hear from a lot of women? We had a woman up today she was a Jamaican woman. And, you know, I was the issue had come up about whether she would actually approach men. And she said, no, you know, I would never approach a man. And then she said, well, the right man just has to come, right? The whole manifestation, he just has to come, right? Do you encounter that a lot? A lot of women feel that way?
Every single night, to the point to where it is damn near a pathology. I mean, I understand. It's from women who are childless with children. They all feel like they are going to win. And even when you sit down and I've talked to women who are high level, masters, law degrees, it's like, well, yeah, but it's this whole manifesting, speak it into existence. But then you ask them, what in your dating life has shown you that this is going to work? What is the probability And most women give themselves at least a 50-50 shot. Most give themselves a 70% shot at this happening. This is why you see so many women who are just not taking mating as a competitive thing it is. I'm just going to rely on the universe, my friend group, the church, or the sorority, or whatever. This is why black matchmakers are leaving, because black women think getting a man of value should be free. Matter of fact, he should find them.
Right. That's what they would say. That's what that lady said. Oh, he'll find me. You know, he's gonna come. He has to come. He's coming.
And he's gonna come, and he's gonna go right by you. Because when he sits down with you, he's gonna find a woman who has not prioritized understanding men, understanding what men want. He's gonna find a woman who's going to sit down in front of him and at best interview him. And it's like, well, and this man is sitting around thinking, well, I don't need your money. I'm doing just fine on my own. Life is going. What can you be in my life? And most women lead with what they do. And what they do is for their paycheck. You have spent no time studying or preparing for what you're supposed to be for me. So when I asked the whole question, but you got a cookbook?
I don't need a cookbook.
What? Yeah, I don't need a cookbook. I don't need this. Okay, well, you want these children. Who's going to cook for them? And it's like, well, family planning. Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? It'll work out. God. All right. Well, I'll say this especially to my college-educated professional women. Men are looking to see that you put the equal amount of effort or more into getting a man as you did getting that career and that degree. And if you're not doing it, sorry that you didn't learn it. Sorry that your mama didn't teach it. Sorry that you were lied to. But the world is a cold, harsh place. It's not your fault. It is your responsibility. You're behind, and you need to run harder.
Mr. Simmons, may I ask? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Absolutely.
Mr. Simmons, may I ask? It sounds like.
Come to Kevin.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. With respect to that shift that you're talking about in mindset, to me, it has to be almost across the board, like a massive cultural shift with how women in the Black community are seeing themselves versus what you're telling us that men are seeing as valuable. I know what you're doing in terms of your platform is a part of that cultural shift, but what else? I mean, for those who are not in the manosphere, I'm new to the manosphere. For those who are not kind of open their ears or are just like you're saying, they're following other prescriptions that are clearly not working. How does that cultural shift start to happen, or what can we do so that men and women are not speaking like literally two different languages as far as what they're seeking out in partnership or what their expectations of how partnership will come about or marriage will come about?
Okay. So what I think I heard you say was, in order for this to work, it has to be a seismic shift in the culture.
Yes.
Nope. 10% will do. Nope. Tipping point. Nope. See, here's what I would do. I would do it with a woman like you. You're in Florida, right?
I am.
I'd say take you and all your friends that you think are on your level. All right. And I'd take one or two men and maybe 8 of you guys, and I put those 2 men who are marriage-minded, looking for wives at that time, and I throw a pencil in. I throw a pencil, a stick, and a knife, and I say, fight. Who do you think? What you gonna do? Your best friend, your bestie, your sorority sister, your girl, your junior league. What you gonna do?
Well, you said a pencil, a stick, and a knife. Which one am I gonna go?
A knife. There's 8 of y'all. Pencil, stick, and a knife.
And we can only so only the men that my goodness. Hunger Games. Oof. I hear you, sir. I hear you.
But the thing is, what you gonna do?
Stab another woman is what you're saying? Or not literally, but like fight her down to get that man?
What you gonna do?
Not a stick, I don't think. I don't know. I don't know. I think your point is well taken.
And what happens, Lead, is just like on Bear Grylls Island season 2, women want to lead by committee and they don't want to be rude to each other. They want to be nice, and they'll sit there and I have these 2 men who are ready to go, and every minute of the lead attorney's life is from his billable hours. You're wasting 15 minutes of this high value man's time, not wanting to offend your friend. You're wasting all this time, and then eventually what I'll do is what I'll do is I'll put a wall where you are, and then I'll push a button, the wall will drop where you are, and then here come in the white women. And the same pencil, the stick, and the knife will be with the white women, and say, here are the 2 men, 8 white women. Guarantee you, you would see Hunger Games.
They would fight, yeah, absolutely.
Right. And that's my thing. Black women, you have been made to not even be in line with your nature. You're supposed to be ready to compete for what it is you want. See, if I said there's a partner position, or if I had said that there is some status, or that you and all your sorority sisters and girls wanted, you guys would fight for that because you deem it more valuable. That's what that example shows us. Our women don't even feel that we're valuable enough to offend one another for, much less fight.
Yeah.
So how do you have a cultural? So how do you see a cultural shift?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So how you see a cultural shift with the one woman who recognizes that whether you use a pencil, a knife, or a stick, it doesn't matter. All she had to do was walk over there and do something. I didn't say what to do, but the fact of the matter, they don't do a damn thing. They expect us to come do it. So the one woman who has been listening to, whether they listen to the man, because a lot of women listen to me. My channel is over 30% women. And whether they hear it from me, this is getting out worldwide. And women are starting to say, you know what? I don't like it, but I put the corporate girl thing to the side, and I put the thing that I thought I was feminine, I thought I was this, I thought I was that. I did what you said to do for a month, and I'm in a serious relationship. I'm engaged now. Here's my wedding. See, and what happens is when a woman sees somebody, women notice change in other women. You see a woman you've known for a long time, you ain't seen her in 6 months, she lost a few pounds. Oh, girl, you're looking good. You lost some weight, such and so forth. You see that rock on her hand,
right?
What? And how'd that happen, girl? I learned how to be sex sandwich in silence. That's what I did. I learned how to turn off the not be right. I knocked off this bullshit, this BS conditional femininity, and I started walking around in my feminine, and I started vibrating at a level to where masculine men could see me. So where I stopped with the princess kind of idea, like that has to come to me, and started realizing I got to compete for the kind of rare man that I think is special. And then when I get him, I got to do something and be something. And I got to take pleasure in doing and being, because I want, just as much as I want him to feel like he has me and I'm special to him, I need to make him feel like that every day, because when he leaves, the competition is fierce. This is why so many sisters laugh when you see other groups of women out early in the morning jogging or running or eating salads and drinking water, because they know that they got to compete.
Right.
And when I asked the average Black woman, would you cut your friend off at the kneecaps to get to that man? She says, no. Well, buy a dog and die alone.
What is it?
I mean, I'm serious because see, in the first example I gave, the way it has typically gone is, well, there's a pencil, a stick, and a knife. There's a room. Eventually, he's going to want some sex. So all I have to do is sit here and wait. And we live in a connected global world now, to where I need Black women to understand. Becky, Marisol, Marlene, and Jamila are watching y'all. They're watching y'all not go after your men. They're watching you talk about the dating market is trash and this and that. And they're like, They are studying. They are enrolling in Dr. Tiasan Johnson's class on Black masculine studies at University of California, Fresno. He said the largest amount of women enrolled in his Black masculinity studies were white women. And he said, why? Yeah, because they said, well, I'm opening my dating preferences up and I need to learn these guys. Black women think men should be free, much less go study for this. Come on, man. Now it's Latin women. So my question to the professional women is, what do you think you should have to do to get a man that you value? Because we often talk about the men that ain't getting it done. Well, I'm talking about the men that you value, since they're so rare, so hard to find. What is it that you think you should have to do? And oftentimes all you hear is nothing.
Right.
So
listen, really appreciate you coming on and dropping that knowledge. There are so many women in Suzette's situation. I know down here in Atlanta, I know that for a fact. I've dated them.
Man. Ooh, they finna cut that loose. That's finna be over. But man, how you
I think he gave some really good advice. If you want a man, you can definitely size yourself down. You can definitely be perfect for anybody. You can fit into any group. We all learned how to do that in high school. And I think there are lots of women that get so self-involved in trying to create a value that they think they want, that they forget about what they could essentially want, which is a man. I also think that happens vice versa. There are women who get married at 19 and they say, you know what? This man never really knew me. I've just been what I'm supposed to be. I've not exercised any type of desire that I've ever wanted. You know, there's a huge problem in the Japanese culture where, you know, it's very standard for their women to be a very specific type if you want to be married. And their men are very stringent about that. Yep. They will not marry you if you do not fit the traditional type, most of them. And they get married. And these men are allowed to have their affairs because in Japan, that's considered normal, even though they don't have a 13-to-1 problem like we do. And then these women, there's now a problem. Now I want to say a problem. There's an epidemic there where there's women who have their own side dudes. And they don't want to, and it pains them. But they also believe that once they're in a marriage, that's it. You're in a marriage. And they're sleeping with other men. And you know, they're just like, you know, does your husband know? And they're just like, no, we don't talk about it. We don't talk about his affairs. He doesn't talk about our affairs. See, and it could be very possible. Nobody's opening their mind to the possibility that maybe that's the way we operate too. Yeah. Nobody ever considers that maybe grandma and grandpa were fucking other people. Maybe it just wasn't grandpa. Grandma just knew she couldn't slip up like that and just have a surprise child though. You know? So, I mean, yeah, it's about like what people know now. The only difference I feel between then and now is shame. That's it. So when you ask, when they bring these little girls to the church and they're calling them slut and they're calling them hoe, and you're like, how can you do that? Because that happens. And they believe that they're investing something good and worthwhile.
Lance, look at the comments.
I also say compete or get left behind. Come on. I mean, but what are you competing for? You know what? Like 10 years ago, I remember seeing a whole bunch of videos of black girls fighting each other over a nigga 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Do you remember that?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Is that the preference?
No.
Okay, so
I don't think he was talking
literal. I don't think
he's talking literal though. I don't think he's talking literal. I don't think he's talking.
He is though. He just compared a man to a job opportunity. You know the cool thing about the job opportunity though, it's contracted. If they take you away from that job, if they don't abide by that contract, then you can sue them. You can get some reparations, some repercussions. What's up? Look at y'all.
Yeah, we got one. Hey, we got
gang.
We got our next week guy here. Brian in here. He's gonna be doing a reaction with me next Friday. But yeah, and then I got my boy Jedi Mike in this thing. What's up, Jedi?
How you guys doing? I was running late, so I kind of missed the stream a little bit, but I just want to pop in.
Okay, yeah, man. We'll let you go first, man. You a guest in the house. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. So what was going over the video? I'd see what you guys were talking with Kevin Samuels with the lead attorney and Suzette.
Yeah, that was Suzette. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen this video playing. First of all, shout out to the lead attorney.
Yes,
First of
sir.
all, listen, one of the most well debated black men, at least on the YouTube space as of right now, like in terms of like a black male attorney, right? And not only that way he communicates, but also how he communicates conversation and debates. It just, I mean, it's textbook. It's textbook what he's
Yeah.
doing. And anybody like watching him can learn from that. But let's go to a point what Kevin Samuels was talking about. As much as men are in competition, at least us us being the better version of ourselves, we're wondering why is women not, because they're thinking that there's no work to be done. But I think that's on the men's side, because we know we want to screw everything with arm and a leg and willing. That's it.
Absolutely.
And
like Brian.
So, and the problem is we created this problem. We have part to play in this problem, because it's like any dude will want to sleep with a woman, anyone. And she doesn't have to be cute, ugly, what doesn't matter. But the problem is this now, thinking, well, because I have the punani, that is the golden egg, the golden goose, they want this. But like, no, once you give that up, what else? You show me, like, it's one that it reminded me of this you know who Todd Chrisley is?
Yes.
Yeah, there was one segment with Steve Harvey. I know Steve Harvey get a lot of flack, right? But he basically there was one segment, bring women on and asking them about relationships and everything. Shout out to my dude Aaron, man.
Aaron, what's up, boy?
What's going on, bro?
Yeah, doing good. But yeah, going to what he was saying was, one woman was like, "Oh, man, not committing to me, whatever," but she lives with him, and also having told her that he loved her. And Todd Chrisley, put it to the straight is, why do we have to pay what we're getting for free? In terms of like, okay, like when she move in with them, we sleeping with him, when she laying with us, cooking, cleaning, what else do we have to do? And you wondering why we're not putting a ring on your finger, because we already know what your worth is. I did not, that's the standard. So it's just saying we're in competition just as you are. And then we want to try to be the top 10%. Why is that we can't ask that of our women? And then they get so mad when like, well, if I get if I'm done with these black women, let's go to white women, which I'm not saying that's the resort to do that. I'm just saying that's always the excuse when they see someone that finally got someone that's actually trying to be the best version of themselves to be with that person and try to compete. Because it's funny that you think you want a top 10% of guy, but then thinking that you have a red carpet to him. You don't. It's like an interview, just like you go into the top elite businesses out there. Try again. I'm in a STEM field right now. Try go applying for first entry in one of Lockheed Martin, one of the biggest companies in the world. And you think someone could go in there? I don't care. Thousands of people are trying to apply for that position, just to step a foot in the door. Even that, going and having an interview is not even guaranteed.
I got you, bro. My auntie worked there, bro. What state you live in?
I live in Virginia.
She work in HR.
Okay, so there's a headquarters down, I think, in Maryland, I believe, or DC or something like that. But yeah, in the East Coast. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's just like, listen, it's like, and I know it's Kevin Sims get a lot of flack. There's things I disagree with him about, but this is what he's saying, that why we're not in competition with each other. Not saying, oh, he's the creme de la creme or whatever, but they're thinking, well, listen, you want what you want, you got to compete for it. I want to have a 6-figure income. I have to compete for a 6-figure job. That's what it is in any profession. So I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, and go ahead, Aaron. You got something you want to say?
Oh no, I'm just listening, catching up on so far. I'm just catching up today. It seemed like when we talk about women, when you really look back in 1960s is right around when the birth control pill was really allowed to be FDA approved, right? So prior to that, there's absolutely no way women were cheating like men were cheating. So that was not happening. Grandma was not cheating on grandpa the same way, because the consequences were just way more detrimental. Just wasn't happening at that rate. After the 1960s, of course, women got, like, I guess we can call it, control over their sexual reproduction, right? That then empowered them to then say, well, now I can't get pregnant per se, so I can start doing more riskier things. And because of this riskier lifestyle, they've started to slowly over time to kind of think that they can act and be like men. It does not work. And so what we're seeing right now, which everything that's going on, is women are being told you can go in the workforce, compete with men, et cetera, et cetera. And what they're finding out is, yeah, you can have a job and you can do the same hard job, make it, but you don't get the same reward that they get. And that's where the confusion is. But the primal focus that we were talking about is mainly like women are just not taught that they have to do anything for men. I talk to women all the time, young, old, it doesn't matter. I ask them questions. They're never taught that they have to do anything. I talked to this young 26-year-old today. I asked her, I said point blank, tell me something you were told about what you had to do for men. She said, nothing. But she had a billion complaints about them that they do. Women are just not told that they have to do anything for men. They're literally told a man is supposed to do this, a man is supposed to do that. They're not told any reciprocity in any rankings. And what you're seeing is right now where men just finally got to the point where they like, yeah, social media has put a highlight on what women have been doing to men, saying, hey, I'm going on my second date today. The first guy was trash, but I got a free meal out of him. And guys like, what? Now it's publicized. It's just like, it really is a actually gender war going on. It's pretty messed up.
Brian, you got something you want to say?
Yeah. I do agree with some points everyone was making. I just got in, so I'm just gonna piggyback on the young brother Aaron. I do agree with certain parts of the 60s. Most definitely, that's a good point I never thought about. But that's just on the internet. In my opinion, that we see a bunch of women doing unholy things that we're not used to seeing. But I guess it just depends on the location where you at, because all the women I run into not like it. Like a lot of women, since I've been dating women, always been reciprocal. Even women I was just having sex with, they always treated me with the utmost respect. Sometimes, man, it's about what you say to a woman and avoid those type women. Like sometimes I think guys keep going through these red flags with these women. And y'all see the red flags, and men constantly make the same mistake, constantly doing the same thing. And sometimes, man, we got to hold ourselves accountable for making these choices. We can blame the woman all we want. We can do all these things, but we still make that choice.
Absolutely.
So therefore, I run into a lot of women, bro, and I see some scats. I stay away from that. Once we learn to stay away from those that segment the women, because how we speak sometimes as men, when we speak about women, it make it seem like we just saying all women in certain instances, but it's not like that. Like it's a lot of those women out here, man, and I guess it's maybe depending on location where people stay at, because I live in the South, and a lot of women in the South know how to cater to a man. I'm from Mississippi, and I moved to Dallas, so a lot of women.
Mississippi.
Oh, shout out to your
Meridian.
mom. Oh, I'm from
Meridian,
Jackson.
Mississippi.
Yeah, I'm from Jackson. So we gotta start choosing the right woman, man. We can't. And I remember the other day we were saying that men are visual. I think that's the problem right there. We so visual. We see ass and titties, or we see a beautiful face. We don't even think about what's this girl mental capacity, how she is. We so caught up in lusting for these women that niggas just lose their mind. So now that's why we have a large segment of Kevin Samuels. And Kevin Samuels hits the nail on the coffin sometimes. And he talking to certain guys that constantly make the same mistakes in women, in my opinion.
Let me just retort real quick. Let me be clear. Personally, I don't have problem with women at all. I don't have problem with women not listening, not being submissive. My girl, we straight. I don't ever have these issues, but I understand other guys that come into these situations and have these issues. But it's not just black men. It's all men are hearing an uproar from all races. Is this newer modern woman who aren't looking to cater to a man unless he must. Okay, for in short example, right? With most women, they come already equipped with what a man requires from them, right? They're born with it. If they're nice, kind, caring, attractive, that pretty much hits 90% of what we are looking for. But everything that we have to be attracted to them, we have to go out and acquire it. So it's a way harder burden for men because we have to go out and acquire and become something to be attractive to women. Women are already basically born that way with their inherent value. And so when their complaints are happening, they're complaining things about men that are very difficult to do. So if we're competing with other men, which all men are competing whether they want to or not, well, I don't have a problem with guys that want to sleep around with a bunch of women, get a bunch of women pregnant, and cause disruption in their life. That's less competition for me. So I'm not really like looking at it then. And so men do have to pick better and do better. But once again, here's the kicker. As you being a man, the one thing you notice is the accountability on man comes first. You're like, man got to do better with picking. Well, here's the kicker. Women have almost 100% right to terminate abortion. We have zero authority. So yeah, really, they have total autonomy when they come deciding whether they want to bring a child into this world or not. So they really have to pick right, in all honesty.
We're going, but we're also going from attraction, initial attraction, to dating to marriage. If we're talking about a king, not just a man, because that's how you're wanting. That's what Joe's bringing up. He wants women to treat men like kings that they are. If you're a king, you're not focused on the attraction like that or the dating like that, because you already know that's going to happen easily. If you're in a marriage, y'all have already discussed children. Okay, so that should be a conversation that's already done. And if she respects you and you married her for that reason, then already. Going back to like women not having an option before the 60s, back in like the 1800s, they had little boxes that would give women an abortion. Would they survive? It was a toss-up.
There you go.
I mean, but it still happened. A woman doesn't need to fuck constantly to feel the fullness that she needs, like men do. Men need to feel like they're still that they're still conquerors. That's part of their leadership thing that they're born with.
I get
but
that.
Women have to feel, like I said in the show before, when I used to pull girls, I just made them feel special. They just need to feel special and attracted and desired and a priority. Like, that's it. There are a lot of women that don't even really care about a dude, like even like sleeping with another woman, because they've already accepted that it's just too much out there. Like Joe said, you can get a woman just sliding through your phone right now. So I mean, do you understand? Like, and men know that when they got a woman and she's crazy about them, 9 times out of 10, she's not going out there. She's not cheating. She's not doing all that. And they fully trust, whether they know or not, they fully trust that they have conquered that, even whether they've made a commitment to it or do anything for it or not, because she is doing wifey stuff before the wifey time. She is cooking. She is cleaning. So it's not to say that she doesn't acquire necessary skills and tools to keep a man.
We're not even requiring that anymore. Like, honestly,
you're not requiring, but there are men that are leaving women because they don't do that. Because there's options. There are more options when it comes to women, and men realize that. So I think it's more important now than ever that men actually lead by example. If you've chosen somebody, make sure you've made the right decision. Make sure you know yourself well enough. And I think that if we turn the tides, if we're trying to create a change, I don't think that's going to happen without men just being like, I am a king. I will treat myself this way. And I will get this type of woman that treats herself this way. And I won't even participate in the behavior of women that do this. And I think that if every single black man like chose to do that, everyone who wanted to be married, at least, I think women would be like, okay, well, shit, let me stop fucking. Let me go ahead and this pussy, I'm just going to get tight again. I mean, I really think so.
Hey,
but
guys,
that's not what dudes smashing.
We can. Yeah, we can hear. We can see you.
Listen, Lance, I hate to agree with you because when I started the show off, I'm like, I don't agree with what he's saying for the most part. But what you just said is factually spot on. I think what we have to realize is that, Aaron, what you said is right. We live in a generation where women are not told what men need. That's just a fact. But the context there's some context there. A lot of us, we didn't see men in our lives. I'm talking about the type of men who, when you see, it commands a level of respect.
Yeah.
The generation of men that we have now, we're so busy trying to be cool and be flashy.
Talk to him.
And as you get older, you start to realize what's actually important.
Yes,
And
sir.
what's actually
Yes,
important is not the Jordans you got or the BMW drive, or that's not what's important. It's really a matter of character and legacy. And for a lot of us, we did not, either it took us having a daughter, having a son, life hitting us real bad for us to get that wake-up call. But ultimately, our women we will inspire our women to become greater when we become the men that we have to be. It's a tough thing to say because I'm going on 15 years of marriage. I got married at 19 years old. So let me give you some context. I got married at 19 years old. I had never, I got taken out of school in the third grade. So never been to high school, never been any of that. Didn't do any of that. When I married my wife, she was already smart. She's already in management in terms of that. She's way more advanced. And I found myself telling her what type of wife she needed to be, which I was right. But it's so much easier to tell her what she should be than it is for me to command those qualities in her based off the man that I am. So it took me years of growth and development and getting her pregnant at 19 and having my first son. And the literal reason I said we have to get married is because I don't want another black woman who I say I love and I'm all for the community, I'm impregnating her and then I'm gonna leave her hanging. So we didn't get married because we were just in love and because it was just a great thing to do. It was because of legacy. And the point that I'm making is that as men, we have to see beyond our sexual desires. We got to see beyond. We honestly got to see beyond how she looks right now, because the truth is, if we're gonna live for legacy, she's not gonna always be fine. And you really want to talk about what real relationships are? Real relationships is not just about is she gonna cook and is she gonna clean and she's gonna get in your program. Real relationships, that's one part. A real relationship is what happens if she gets sick? Are you gonna be there to take care of her? What happens if something happens to her and she's incapacitated? Will you make sure that you're still the man that you're gonna love her and take care of her? What happens if she's having a bad day and she's going through depression, right? Like serious depression. We see that in today's world, our women are much more depressed than they've ever been because of the pressures that they have to be on. Right. So relationships is not just about what I want the woman to be. And I think what we have done, because us men, we haven't taken the time and been around other men. So what we do is we hear Kevin Samuels or we hear, a lead attorney, and they're saying all the stuff it's right. But it's right for men who have lived up to the expectations that they want their woman to live up to. And until we do that, we have to stop.
That's all I've been trying to say.
We have to stop invoking what our women should be because we're right.
Okay.
But right has to be righteous. And what I mean by that is I can tell you what's right, but my righteousness in terms of I'm doing what I'm saying you should be doing, we lead by example. So again, Lance, I hate that I had to agree with you.
A lot of
what
people do.
Said,
okay.
Right on point. It's right on point, man. And I appreciate the perspective. This is why men have to be around other men, because what we do is we challenge each other's thoughts and we deepen our knowledge. And this is what was missing. It wasn't that we didn't have the potential. It's just that we live in silos, particularly as black men. We go to work, we do our thing, and then we read our Bible, but we don't commune. And this is how we grow as men, because our granddaddies ain't doing it. Let's just be honest. Our daddies ain't doing it. We the uncles now. And so we got to keep having these conversations like this, because this is what our women are saying. This is what needs to be said. And I think that, and I'll finish by saying this. My wife is older than me. She has a master's degree. She got businesses.
Is she a PhD?
Yeah, she will be.
Right?
Listen, she doesn't have to work. Let me be real with y'all. She doesn't have to work. When I first met her, I was only earning $19,000. That's but she
Come on.
stuck with me. When I was riding the bus, she was
That's
there.
what I
When
was
I was
talking about
pushing
earlier.
a stroller,
Yeah.
she was
That's what I
right
was talking
there.
about earlier.
So now she don't have to work. I just bought this woman a 4,000 square foot home, paid off her car. She ain't got nothing to worry about. But the reason I did that is because I have to be the man that I want my wife to respect. And I
Right.
can't demand her to be more woman than I am man.
She respected
think-
you and your vision. She saw
Absolutely.
your vision. She had a plan and she believed in that.
Absolutely.
And that's like women can do that though. Like it's harder for men to do that. It's harder because we are structural beings. So it's harder for us to just be like, okay, I'm with this woman and that's mine and that's mine and that's mine. But a woman could be like, okay, I see potential, like real, like he's got a vision, he got a plan, and they jump in that thing.
Here's another part though. One of the dangers that a lot of us black men have experienced is because most of us have strong women who raised us, our mamas, who we love. We learned how to defer. And for most of us men, it's like this internal war where you want to lead, you want to be commanding, you want to be in charge, but there's this deference. And when you see somebody you love, particularly a woman who operates in her strength, we go into support mode. And we don't realize that even the strongest, most eloquent, the most intelligent, the most meticulous women still want to submit to a man who can take charge, who can be a leader. It doesn't. And watch this. You don't have to have a PhD to marry one. You have to be a leader. You have to be somebody who has character, somebody who can teach her something. And I don't care how beautiful she is, how educated she is. A woman wants to submit to a man. This is why have y'all ever seen like an ugly dude with a fine chick? And you're like, hold on a second.
Like, hold up. Wait a minute.
Janet and JD.
Listen, I went through some insecurity. Listen, I went through some therapy over something like that. I'm like, first of all, I know I got him beat. Now, I ain't great, but I got this dude beat. What it was, though, is he was something that I wasn't. And that's what manhood is you being what you say you are, right? Women will follow you. You ain't got to be the cutest. You ain't got to be the tallest. Well, you got to be something. But what I'm saying is it is who you are. A woman will follow a man. And here's the kicker. It may take her some time. Because if she wasn't raised to be feminine, if she wasn't raised to know how to submit, if she wasn't raised that way, we have to have the patience enough to have the leadership. Because if you guys, we've all worked in leadership. You don't just develop a person the first month. Sometimes it takes time. The job of a leader is to see the potential there and to incubate that. And there's got to be some checks and balances. There's got to be some metrics. Like she has to show that she's willing to grow. But again, she can't aspire to meet the expectations of the leader if the leader is not consistently making sure that he operates in his masculine frame and that he provides an environment for her to grow and make mistakes without every time she falls saying, "Wait, see, you ain't feminine enough." See, this is you got to be patient, and you don't get 15-year results in the first year. And I think a lot of us men want that. You want an experienced wife of 20 years in your first year. You absolutely crazy. Yeah, you ain't went through death in the family. You ain't went through making sure you have to balance bills. Y'all ain't went through credit repair. You don't know what it's like to go through a change in the body after a baby, postpartum depression. You don't know none of that. You're not ready for that. And I think what we have to do is get to a place where we are patient in terms of our own development and give that woman some grace as well. Because a woman who is loved correctly and led well is a woman that when she's on your team will make your life better.
I'm trying to say since I've been on here, man.
I support that.
I've been saying that since not this show, but since y'all invited me. What you put in a woman's mind, that's what you're gonna get. Yep. That's what you're gonna receive. So if you keep feeding her bullshit, you're gonna get bullshit. So if you're bullshitting that nigga, what you think your woman gonna be to you? So that's why I was explaining to Joe, like all women ain't just fucked up like that. You know what I'm saying? It's all about you, man. If you keep being these type women, it's something about you. It's something about your energy and your spirit that just ain't right.
Right.
And it's hard to hear that, bro. It's
hard. It's ego. You know why it's hard to hear it? Because of ego. But see, I think the thing, and a shout out to you. I haven't talked to you in a minute, Hale. But good to see you again.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd say the reason why is that us as men hearing the truth by that, because like we complain about, as men are talking about the whole sign language, but at the same time, sign language to me, in a sense, is not gender neutral, gender exclusive. The same thing as men. You can deflect when men trying to be direct with you and tell, hey, listen, you ain't getting your priorities right. This is why This is why X, Y, and Z is happening. Yeah, you complain about what the market is like. Oh, these women, like, I want to look back at a conversation that me and Black Man Unfiltered had at Anton. There was a man who was a millionaire.
God. There you
Yeah,
go.
come on. Yeah, you already know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
There
yeah, I
was a
already
man
know.
who was a millionaire. He's making all these money stuff, but then he kept doing the same red pill type of rage, saying, "Oh, these women are nothing. She can't leave. She almost killed me and all stuff." I'm like, but you can tell just by his demeanor what he was putting into her. I didn't have to meet her to know what type of conversation we would like to have with this gentleman or this man. I'll say,
You know what's funny about that, real quick? He
Go ahead.
kept talking about Brittany Renner. Do I think Brittany Renner want to submit? She went on an interview, right?
Exactly.
What Kevin Samuels and said exactly what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Exactly.
I know I have to get on a man's page. Yes, I know I have to do what. Yes, yeah.
But see, but listen, I don't blame Brittany Renner. Like, this is why I haven't done a show on their world. Let me explain. Brittany Renner is a product of men falling for her sex appeal and her beauty, and wanting that because men oftentimes feel validated by a beautiful woman, plain and simple. And so because of that, women can't be hoes by themselves. Let's just be real for a second. Women can't be hoes by themselves. They have to have help. So if we're gonna blame Brittany Renner, then, and if she has that reputation, I want to hold all the guys who helped her to get that list.
Exactly.
I want to hold them accountable as well.
Right.
Well,
it's a part of the cycle.
By saying that, what you're indicating is men are superior to women, and she can't manipulate a man.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that men should be leaders. And because men are not leaders and we succumb to that, you can't then say I'm superior and you're falling. Because women can't respect that.
Yeah. Okay.
I think men are leaders. I just think we have to actually step in that role. Like you can't sit there and call yourself a king and be cleaning up the floor.
Now, I'm not saying Brittany doesn't have responsibility. Like Brittany has responsibility. Let's be clear.
No, that's true.
But at some point, men have to be men. And sometimes Lance, you said something earlier about it was an extreme example about what happened if you went into the room and she was bucket naked and she give it to me. I've been through it. And let me tell you something. That ain't easy.
It ain't easy. It's leadership. Ain't none of it easy. Marriage ain't easy.
That is exactly what I'm saying. It's leadership. And unless you can say no, and I don't mean one time, because leadership is not doing the right thing once. Leadership is doing the right thing consistently. And if you fall, admitting that, learning from that, and trying to be a better man next, that's what they have to be. Exactly. So we can't just keep on blaming Brittany Renner.
No,
I don't blame her at all. You can't keep blaming her at all.
Bringing it up.
And you know what? Let me and the other, speaking of what he just said about being on the Anton show the other night, that was a good conversation. And matter of fact, I got it pulled up right here for you guys that didn't see it. I got it right here. It was a great. Hey, I wish all y'all was on it, bro. That was a great conversation that night, man.
Yeah, we had it lit.
Here it is, right here, bro. I chopped it up and put it on my channel.
Yeah, it's just going to be a little compassion. As a businessman, my employees is made to take weight off of me.
Yes.
My job is to manage out my time.
Yep.
Okay. My job is to train them in certain positions so I don't have to.
Yep.
But they already come with some pre-qualification.
To a certain degree.
Okay. And what I'm hearing from you, and this is just me looking from a business perspective.
Now, before we move forward, this is what accountability looks like. When someone, because me, Lance, all you guys that are here right now, we all can accept accountability, right? I'm not going to say everything that's right. Lance holds me accountable, right? Brian holds me accountable. You guys can hold me accountable. I'm open to accountability. right? At first I wasn't. I'm learning over the weeks of being on the show with crazy people like Lance and other people that's on the show. I'm learning a little bit at a time, right? Even learning from Brian, he threw the hell off. But at the same time, this right here, what you're about to watch, is straight accountability. It went from him telling him what he wanted him to know into a small sermonette. So I just wanted to give that intro because Aaron's on here. Yeah, Aaron, you was on here too. I see you. So yeah, man, here it is.
You seem to have no benevolent dictatorship even with yourself. Therefore, where there's no benevolent dictatorship, there is nothing. There's a difference between a dictatorship and an authoritarian. And to me, unless you understand the difference between the two, even Lizzo won't stay with you. So I'm just letting you know that what you're thinking you can attract is a low self-esteem woman. And even she will develop herself to have some esteem and leave your behind alone. So the problem, my brother, is that even if you got a low self-esteem woman, if you gave her true benevolent love, she'll turn that low self-esteem into high self-esteem and make you what you need. But the problem is you're so busy talking about the 80% in this philosophical philosophy of wanting a woman. The reality is, in order to attract that kind of woman, you got to be that kind of man. And right now, even the way Anton is coming at you, I'm coming at you from the business perspective. And the problem that I see, even with you talking about business, he want to talk finance. I'm a businessman, bro. And every time I am doing business, I am looking at the return on my investments. I'm not going to invest in something that's not going to bring me a return. Right. And therefore, if I don't have a vision, then I'm not moving. And everything I hear you saying, you have no vision. Because see, a man that does not have a vision does not have a plan. And the problem is, you telling me what you so-called have a vision, but you don't have a vision, because a man that has a vision has a plan. And when he has a plan, a woman can read the vision and she's going to know the vision. And if she cannot follow the vision,
hey man, hold on, let's take offering.
Now. But if she can read the vision, she will do all that she can to be
Go ahead. Go ahead. We'll stop right there because, man, I'm going to let y'all hear the rest. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, y'all just said we need to take an offering because he cooking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hey, here come the dessert, brother.
Why?
He's going to be a part of the plan. And the problem is you have no vision. Therefore, you're a blind man trying to lead the blind. And this is what Antoine has been trying to educate you. So when the preacher preach, you must understand what the preacher is saying. Why? What is it? You cannot sit up here and put money up under a tree. Why? Because that money under the tree is not going to produce anything for you. You have to put that money in something that is going to produce and be able to multiply and multiply and multiply. How do you produce a child? You got to put the seed in the woman, and then she's going to nurture that seed for the next 9 months, and then she's going to produce exactly what you put in her. But if you put death in her, she's only going to produce death. But when you put life in her, she's going to produce life. You are speaking death on her, and that's why she tried to kill you, because you put death in her, and she put death on you. But let's talk about that. That's what we men are supposed to do. We are supposed to be the giver of the womb. Let me show you how powerful a man is. Do you not realize that the womb is dead until the seed of a man goes into that womb, and that is the only way the womb comes back to life? It is time that we now put the right seed and the righteous seed and the acting seed so that we can turn this woman from dead back to life. I finished telling you over and over. He said, we got to analyze the women and all of the women that are broke. What did the Father say? He said, in me is life and life more abundantly. When we see a woman who has been in any form, shape, or fashion, we are to do what? Cover her and say, sin no more, and go and walk. For by the grace of God, there go I. And my brother, it is time that we stand up and create what God said we were to create. And it's time for us to create a wealth and a nation and a city, because the God I serve is more powerful than some foolish God that you serve.
All right, dude.
All in all.
Let the chat say amen.
What you don't understand.
Now watch this. Everybody's cheering. Now, after he holds him accountable, watch how ignorant he still is. What he's still going back to the same thing before old school checked him.
So what you don't understand, no value for money, right? Everything I have gets poured into my kids and will get poured into my wife. I have no desire to beat her down. I have no desire to put death in her. I want her to succeed. The woman that did this to me, I paid all the bills. I paid all the bills. She stacked her chips, bought her property, and as soon as she was ready to go, she went out and got on welfare, and they came after me for child support. So you don't really know what's going on. I poured into her. I pour into my kids. I will pour into the next woman. I will pour into the next woman that comes to me. I have no desire. I want to build.
What you're pouring is the problem. Stop pouring what you're pouring.
Y'all ready to have a real convo? Hey, look, man. Hey,
don't get me started.
Bro,
that might happen again.
That man got big. That man
Uncle
got
Stu,
fried.
my mentor.
That man got roasted.
I mean, all he tried to do is open his eyes, and the hearts of the
Absolutely.
blind. Something you'll never find is a vision of light. And you can try to open up the blinds for him as much as you want to, but some people just ain't. Hey, everybody ain't gonna see the vision. I mean, just what it is.
And also, I want to just say this as a young person saying this too, because acting like, oh, it's happened to older men too. Let me tell you, like a lot of this, and then especially in college, you know, this F-boy culture and stuff like this, and what seems to be cool. Everything that Hale was talking about earlier is absolutely true, and it's the same position that I differentiate myself in, which is why I'm in a relationship right now, and I'm in the best shape of my life, and I'm also the best space in my life, even though. On the grand scheme of things, like I mentioned, in my senior year, and I got several jobs I have consistently go along what I'm doing, because I do believe that in my early 20s, supposed to be putting my head down, getting to work. But a woman saw that. That's why she respects me, not because I'm also as a man. Can we even talk about? I had this about church the other day, talking about what is defined as a, you talk about defined as a godly man, but even if you're not religious, whatever, what just terms of that, what's the characteristic of a man? You talk about masculine, whatever, because what happened is that we always fear that the mistake that we made, that a lot of our negative trait from a masculine to feminine point. For example, a negative trait for women that they can be manipulators, a negative trait for men that we can be intimidators. Why do I have to intimidate you for you to respect me? Right? Because then that basically gets us to, well, if I have this street cred, if I got all these people that I killed and stuff like that, and robbing and everything like that, okay, now now you fear me, so therefore you respect me. I didn't live my life like that. My father did not raise me to be like that. I said a man get respected by the work he put in, but also how he carry himself, but also the people he around to. Men are supposed to motivate people. We're not supposed to have people around supposed to fear us, right? So then what happened is,
but you can't see like those. That's a word that has dual meaning. You can intimidate a pastor, can intimidate a whole congregation. just based on solely on the faithfulness that he has to God, that nobody would even fear touch that man because they already know that he's anointed. A woman, you can call her a manipulator, but manipulation is just another way to make something happen. Some people would call that motivation. Some people would call it just setting a fire under your ass. So it depends on what kind of person you are and your character, how you see something playing out. It's just perspective. I watched my mother motivate my dad every day. She was an alpha all through and through, but you would have never known it because she kept trying to pour into him what she believed he could be. And she manipulated every single situation just to try to make him every single bit better. Never took anything away from him. Never tried to take charge of anything. But when there was stuff that needed to be done, she explained that this needed to be done and put him in an agreeable state. Some might call that manipulation, but it got us away and got us out of a town that was full of a whole bunch of gangbangers.
Right.
That he didn't want to necessarily leave. That was motivation. That some other people would be like, how did you get him to do that?
Yeah, but there's a trait, but like I understand where you come from. I agree with you, but I think there's another word to use intimidation is as respect, in terms of like, or yeah, you can say in terms of intimidation, just in terms of I'm not going to mess with that person, but I'm using it in terms of negative context thing that some people today think, oh, wait, in order for me to be respected, I must be in somewhat feared, and I think that's what we're losing at in terms of being not only a men of our word, but also being men of consistency. Because the problem today we have done, which is why a lot of us as men, we want to bring up in the social media age, bring up Brittany Renner, bring up a bunch of other stuff, because we've taken the process away of men of forging our character. See, I was in the day, even in the older, like I'm 23 right now, but now Boy Scouts today was not Boy Scouts when I went to Boy Scouts, especially. And let me tell you something. And that was one of the most formative years of my life. And my dad, he went to boot camp instead of going Boy Scouts. But that was my old thing. But my thing is what I'm saying, there's things that us as men, we don't have these spaces like this to hold each other accountable, but be righteous men, right? But then it could look what even talk about issues in the comment section, just in the space that we're in. Like, for example, I was talking about certain things about as role as a man being, like shout out to Uncle Stu talking about being a benevolent, dictator, whatever, right? And the way I was communicating to Kay, the way I was communicating to certain Kayla in certain ways, right? And some folks, say, oh, you beta, it's because I wasn't cussing them out and everything. And that's the thing. You won't be so quick to anger, but that's not what a man's supposed to be. That's just as opposed. We're not be so quick to anger, but having the knowing to the presence of a true man or to assess the situation, also control it. That's what it is, and we're not doing that anymore. We'd like to have this flat response, like, okay, I need to make a knee jerk reaction. I'm feeling some type of conviction, but you have to understand that someone's trying to hold me accountable. But you have to remember, conviction, even in the church, is not condemnation if it's done the right way. Conviction just means, hey, I got some areas I need to grow into. And that's what happened with the dude in the live stream what Uncle Stu was talking about, because he was saying complete garbage. And a lot of dudes, and he's not the only one, guys my age, is saying the same thing that man was saying, just talking about things and just deflecting. And I'm just saying, for me, it took me a long time to get out of that space and dissociate from that mindset, because that is contagious, right? Just in terms of who you hang around with, that mindset that keep you in that corner of actually not getting your priorities straight and what actually means for a woman to respect you in the first place. And we can complain till the cows come home about the conditions that like wherever that women, and there's a bunch of things why excluding from men in general, why they're today modern woman is acting the way she is. But I'm just saying, I do turn to that living in the world, not being of the world. That's just, I know how I was raised. So I just think that we have to condition ourselves in that mindset instead of that the one that not the young man, but what's his name, RC was saying in that video.
Well, let me add some balance to that. There's nothing wrong with being feared as a man. I think part of the reason why that seems negative or toxic is because we haven't been around based off of basic human evolutionary biology. We have what we have so that we were able to survive in the world. So men had to be bigger and powerful and fearful so that we protected and we preserved our families. Women had to be manipulative in a way. And it's really just goes to show the way that women think, because she's not going to force anyone to do anything. So she has to have some skill to survive. It's a survival thing. What we have done now, because we have evolved since then, is knowing when to temper that, how to temper that, how to use those things. And in a marriage, wives should absolutely manipulate their husbands, but not in the sense that you're trying to get him to do something that's harmful for him. I'll give you an example. If y'all see Talk Hill, that's my wife. So
Hey, Miss Hale.
Yeah, so my wife could say, so I'll give an example. Like, I am terrible. Like, I'm not a handyman. I work on computers. That's what I love to do. And I pay somebody else to do stuff. I'm not a handyman. I know how to change a tire, I know how to do oil and stuff. God made me to sit in an office building. That's what he made me to do. If I was in Exodus, part of the Hebrew slaves, I'd have been out of there. First chapter, I'm gone. I wouldn't survive it. So, but if every now and again, my wife will say, "Hey, babe, can you take care of this?" And she'll get a little cute for me. She'll do a little something for me. It's she's using her femininity to get me to do something that I need to do in the first place. There's nothing wrong with that. The issue we have is when we start manipulating people to fulfill something that we want at the detriment of them, right? And the same is true in the reverse, is when we use our fear, when we use our power to get somebody to do something that goes against what's best for them. So I wanted to bring that up. As a man, you should be respected in such a way that when we say fear, it's not that they're scared of you, but they realize that they can't just talk to you any kind of way. They can't just treat you any kind of way, because there are consequences when they cross your boundaries. And that is something that you have to keep. There's a time when you have to be kind and let stuff fall off your shoulders. But there is a time when somebody is crossing the line, you have to absolutely speak up and say what needs to be said the way it needs to be said, and then scale it down. So it's healthy for me to have that.
Real quick, I don't want to interrupt there. I want this conversation to keep going, but I want to kick a shout out, man. Since your wife is watching, I do want to kick a shout out to your wife, because the way you speak of her, she is the very example of what men are needing in this generation and in this time. So I want to kick a shout out to her. I know she's watching, so thank God for women like her, because that gives men hope to understand there are some things out there for me, and some men have gotten to the point where, you know what, I'm never going to find it. I'm just going to hit everything moving. Forget it. I don't care about it no more. It's over. But she gives us the hope that we need.
Can I tell you something though?
Yeah, go ahead.
I had to sacrifice for this. I went out there being a hoe. I went out there drinking. I went out there doing the drugs.
Yeah, good, hey.
I had to. It cost.
Love it, bro.
I want to ask too. I want to ask you too, Sir Hale. Just for all the men out here who are, and for the women out here who are looking for the vision that they're supposed to be looking for and believing in, what is it that you saw in your wife? You told us a little bit, but what is it that you saw in your wife, and what is it that your wife saw in you? If you can speak on that, or she can speak on that. That made that 100% commitment.
Well, let me tell you something.
Hold on. You should. Is it okay if we bring our own so she can speak for herself?
Yeah. Come on, babe. Come online, babe.
Yeah. May I make a quick comment?
Yeah. Go ahead, Jedi.
No, honestly, I know. I think because I just want to sit back. I think to open my perspective, because that's just what I'm just like coming from, and I think the way you were kind of explaining that in my instance, just thinking that there's different levels of what in terms of a man was supposed to be in conversation that I have been, and that's what when I brought that point of view, this is just something that I've just been talking about with a lot of folks, and I think they didn't got a clear definition what it's supposed to be. But I thank you for at least clarifying that to me, so now I have a new understanding about that. I hope I wasn't trying to over explain or anything.
And let me say this to you, Jedi, and if it's okay with you, Black Men Unfiltered,
absolutely,
Jedi, you are special. Like, you have a light about you. You have an airness about you.
Yeah.
You have a strength about you. You are on your way to becoming a quote unquote great man. Great men have a level of fear about them. And it's not because people are intimidated by you. It is that when you see a man who has put work in to become who he is, the hours, the stress, the sweat, the studies, the research, it commands respect. And so I'm telling you this as a 34-year-old who has been married since 19 and got 4 kids. I'm telling you this as a brother, so that when you start getting treated with a level of respect, you don't go into a mode where you are pushing it away because you think that there is something wrong with people treating you with a certain level of arrogance and respect. God knows you're going to be humble and that you're going to be humble with it. But you have to walk with that amount of fear, that reverence, because you are an example to what other men should become as well. So you have to have that. So that's why I wanted to make sure I spoke on that, because I see what you're saying. You're saying that you don't want it to be toxic and to be controlling, which is what a leader should say. But as somebody who is a little bit older than you, I'm telling you that you'll need that because it's going to open up some doors in your life. You are going to be a great man.
You're not toxic. You're not toxic. As long as you continue to not be toxic, you have no choice but to put out non-toxic vibes. Right. And the more you believe in that it'll become overwhelming. People won't be able to block your vibration anymore.
And I think the same thing about Jedi. Very well spoken, very eloquent. And you know why? Because he had that leadership from his father. That's a PK. And so
absolutely.
So you can tell that on him. Before I even knew that, I knew that. And so but I want to say this because you guys have inspired me tonight, to be honest. And and I can be a Hellcat, Jesus Christ. But you have inspired me. But at the same time, on Fridays, I'm just thinking, because sometimes God gives you things while you're on the fly. I think that I don't want to do Reaction Fridays anymore. I think I want to do Cooking with Kings. And I want to come on there. I want to come on every Friday.
and cooking with that, brother.
Cooking with Kings. And we'll sit here and have this conversation. And anybody wants to come on, the men want to come on, we'll come on. We'll build us a little cast of people that can commit to it, and we'll come on and we'll bring guys on and that want to come in and ask questions about life, about marriage, about forgiveness, all those different things. And we'll build up these black men to become the very men these women want to be leaders.
Fantastic, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I received that. Thank you. Honestly, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, we got talk. Hey, girl, the queen.
Hi,
everybody.
Hey. Can y'all hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Well, I came on. Thank you so much for having me on the platform. I was coming back from a birthday party. I had my kids there, but I'm open to any questions you guys have.
Well, we got this man that'll love to ask you some questions. His name is Sir Hell. I don't know if you know him or not, but we was asking him about, you guys. And Lance had a great question. So, Lance, go ahead with your question, sir.
I was just for all the people out here who are, just desperate in the search and don't even really know what they're supposed to be looking for. What is it? What is it that you guys saw in each other? He said you believed in his vision. What in his vision, what in his person and his character that made you stick with him? Because there's a lot of women that are just like, I'm going to stick with my man, and they're not men yet, but they think they're going to become them. And even though other men could be like, yeah, we see all the red flags. He's not doing anything yet. He ain't about shit. What is it? What discernment did you have when it came to Sir Hale that made you see that this was going to be a lifelong, blessing?
Well, I'll be honest with you. When Sir Hale and I first met, we were young. I'm 36 now. I'm 2 years older than him. And when we met, we actually met at church. And of course, I was a young elder at the time and everything. And I think we were in youth ministry or something like that. And I remember seeing him and praying for him. And we started talking and everything. And we developed a relationship. But to answer your question, what made me just really stick out everything with us, because we used to ride the bus to see each other. Our first dates were literally at the library, and a lot of people wouldn't even go for that. I remember being with my husband, and we had a very serious conversation. I believe it was at CC's Pizza, Ernest.
Probably so, yeah.
Come on, CC's.
Yes, we had an actual date at CC's Pizza, and we got to talking. And when he began to talk, it broke me down. But after we had got married. We went through our struggles and everything. And what really made me stay with Ernest was, number one, he was always truthful. He was honest, and he wasn't a man that just said something and made all these promises. But everything that he told me that he was going to do, he did. He told me that, hey, babe, we're not going to always stay in the hood. We don't. We now stay in an estate home on a lake house front and everything, right? Our home just increased, oh my God, in value. He told me that I will never have to work. I work because I want to. I work because it's optional for me or whatever. Not because I have to, but those are things my husband promised me. He also told me that being with him was going to be like, we were in our bed after our oldest son was born, and we were in the bed, and he was like, look, babe, we have a mission for the world, and people are going to look to us as the example. And he was like, are you ready for this? Are you ready for what you are going to be having to do? And my foolish self, I was like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm gonna be a light to this world, not knowing that we were not realizing that we were going to have some things that will come towards us where I should have left. Where if you would have looked at the situation, you would have been like, oh no, those red flags. You need to go. But I pray, and I'm a woman of faith, and every time I would pray, the Holy Spirit would literally tell me to stay and work. And the thing is, when you stay and you work it out, you have to change too. I have to admit, I had many flaws and things of that nature that was wrong with me, and I had to watch how I speak to him, watch how I talk to him, and everything. And that had nothing to do with, oh, you just letting him control you or this, that, or the third. Because it was one point I made more money than my husband. Right? And how you gonna let him tell you what to do? Because he's my man, and I love him. And if he gets mad, if you get mad, I don't stay with you. I stay with this one.
Come on.
And so when people have to realize that your man is your man, right? Your pastor ain't your man, but your man is your man. I had to learn that later in our marriage. However, once I've learned that, and I try to tell women now, and my husband always encouraged me now to even like speak more. Like I talk a lot about marketing and investing and things of that nature, but he's like, babe, you have to begin to tell the women something. So even being on here tonight, guys, thank y'all so much.
Hey,
Thank you.
So basically what you're saying is red flags ain't always red flags. Sometimes it's just the GPS coordination to get to where you need to go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I like that. Yeah.
Hey, that's it. I'm trying to tell you, man.
Let's know that she spoke on his character first.
Yeah, yes, she did. But she said we went through
it don't matter how many red flags it was on the plate, he was still playing.
I love it.
I do want to say that.
And what the most important thing is, she kept people out their business. It's my man. Stay out my business.
That is, and you know what? I meant to raise that up because you'll see people will dog the relationship and still be in it, but nobody told you about how they made up. Nobody told you about any of that. So you come up there and you're putting out negative stuff about your relationship consistently. And the only thing it's going to do, because it's not your relationship, it's theirs. When you come back to them, they're going to throw everything back to you. Like that was the only thing that there ever was in that relationship.
But listen, but we're grateful for that because we had to go through it. We had to. Like you don't, like when I was saying that you don't get 15-year results in the first year, I meant that. And the reason why God gives us hardships so that we can pass this along. So people, because everybody ain't got the strength like we had. So we have to go through this. We have to have family members saying stuff. We have to have friends saying stuff. There were people telling her she could have done better than me.
Come on.
Now what?
The devil, come on, man.
They said she could do better than me. And I'm humble enough to say maybe she could have. But I'm at a place in my life where I've out-earned all of them. Most of them, their relationships ain't together now, and we still together. And I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I serve a good God who knows how to keep you together. And when people think that it won't work, if God's hand is on what you have, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what people say.
At all.
I don't care if y'all want to walk away.
Preach.
If God's hand is on what you have, God will make sure He'll make it work.
You preaching today, Doc.
So I'm
Get to the point that you walk away from that, you
encouraging-
turning away from God too.
My wife is my friend, and the reason why it's easy for me to stay with my wife is because when I don't like my wife, I will always love my friend, and I have learned that I can fall out of like with her. I might not feel her one day, but I will love her until I like her again, and she'll love me until she likes me again. This is what don't we get into it. Like don't get me wrong. Lady Hell cuss. Don't get this twisted. She know the Lord, but she cuss.
I do.
She'll slip in there Matthew 7 and 10 and cuss you out at the same time. But here's the thing. I wouldn't be where I'm at without a woman like her. And I think that's what we have to get to the place where God doesn't call us to be perfect. He calls you how you are. And there was something that she needs that I appreciate. And so I got to protect that woman. I don't provide for her just to say I do it. I do it because I realize the gift she is to me. And it will not be said that I went through this life thanking God for who she is. And I did not do my best to make sure I took care of her and I appreciated it. How dare me take better care of my truck than I take care of my wife?
Close this laptop. Close this laptop.
I keep my truck shine. I keep my tires shine. I keep it vacuumed. I keep the oil changed. I keep full covered insurance. How dare me treat my truck better than my wife? I can get another truck. I can get another Talk Hell.
Come on. Better treat
And
her
that's
like you're
just
a
the
whole
truth.
child of God. Come on.
So if the advice I would give you is find somebody who can be your friend. My wife went to the library with me, and it almost brings me to tears because I didn't grow up the most attractive guy. I did not grow up. I had acne, and I was talked about, and people said I was a dropout and I was a failure. And that broke me for a while. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it brings me to tears. And part of the reason why I started working out and I got, swole is because I just got humiliated. And for my wife to love me and see something in me and stick with me, I honor that. And she means something to me for that. So if you're looking for somebody, those of you who are watching, find somebody you can be a friend with. If y'all can be friends, y'all can be something else. So I'm answering your question, Lance.
That friend thing is that'll kill it. That'll make it or break it right there.
And you know what though, man? I feel like this here because like I said, I know I talk a lot of crap, but on a serious tip, all jokes aside, I feel like in this day and time, Sir Hill, a lot of people, women and men, they quit too soon. I think that if you're in a relationship and you love someone, I think love and commitment is staying power. And that's one of the things that I learned from old school relationships and seeing my grandmother and my grandfather be married for 60 plus years. And you ask them, what's the staying power? Why didn't you leave granddaddy when he was drinking and out in them streets and doing all this stupid stuff? And my grandmother said the same thing you say, the very thing that we're missing right now. Because I'll say this and I'll get back in. The other night on the show, I bring up Bible. The first thing they say is, oh, we tired of hearing about the Bible, right? But then the foundation of everything needs to start with God.
Absolutely.
And when you don't have that foundation, your house is not built on concrete, it's built on sand. And so a lot of people, individuals, are built on sand. And those are the people that I go after all the time. When you're built on sand and you cannot stabilize, you cannot be stable, you cannot have anything solid if you're built on sand. And so a lot of relationships are built on sand. A lot of individualism is built on sand. A lot of motherhoods are built on sand. A lot of fatherhood. So you can go down the whole list of things here that's built on sand. And we have to be able to realize that, like you said, you got to find your friend. You got to find someone that cares for you. And you got to be willing to have those arguments and then make up from those arguments. But in the time we live in now, the modern world, a woman gets mad at a man now, a man gets mad at a woman. They won't talk to each other for 3 weeks.
They'll talk to the phone now.
Right, yeah. This is what they'll be doing. This right here, I love it, love technology, but this right here is the devil. This is a divorce. This right here will get you divorced. This thing right, this little thing will get you divorced. It will get you it'll get you in trouble. And so I love you guys. You guys' marriage is a huge example of what the world needs to look like, and it helps me. And I know it helps a lot of these other guys on here to have you speak those things into existence for everybody that's here tonight. And I think Talk Hell, I thank you. I think Sir Hell, you guys are amazing. I can listen to you guys talk all night. And so
we needed some new Obamas. Come on through. Yeah. Come on, we needed that.
Come on. And
Can I say something as well?
Yeah, go ahead.
Black man, thank you, man. Like, I've been following you for a little bit. I saw you on the Lapeef shot. I'm like this. I'm like, he's funny, but if you listen to what he's saying, he got some depth to him. Man, you gotta your call is unique, man. Like, cause you it's like you a bishop, but you're not like the regular bishop who got the cloak on. Now, I ain't even say robe. I said you ain't got the cloak on, right? But man, your ability to reach people and see the truth in a way that I can just freaking be myself without having to put on a church face, that is what the world needs. Listen, this is gonna sound terrible. I'm part of clergy. I don't like people who can't say what they mean the way that's authentic to them. And
yes.
Black Man Unfiltered is true to your name, man. So thank you for what you do, for how you present. Like just seeing you, like you didn't always follow me, but I'm like, I gotta follow this man page. I followed you and you were at 146 followers. That's how deep this is.
Right.
I appreciate what you're doing, man, and Lance as well, man. You sharp, man. Like it's. I'm like, dang. I was trying to disagree earlier, but the more I listen, I'm like, hold on. You sharp, man.
I come from a different angle, but it's the truth all the time. I tell you that. And Joe, honestly, Joe too. I mean, we work together. I mean, this man. I watched him walk into the office, and everything would change. And there's not a lot of people that have that effect without saying a lot. And there's not a lot of people that can continue to have that effect even after they open their mouth, because usually they're going to say something that's going to be disagreeable, that somebody's going to try to have some type of ignorant, comparison to. And when it comes down to it, no matter what Joe says that I do or do not disagree with him on, he is always going to come through and he's always going to speak truth and he's always going to be genuine. And that's not really something that you can super rely on people from nowadays. And I'm glad that he has opened up this platform to people of all types so that we can all learn from each other and he can pull in too. Because I mean, this is what we need. I mean, we've been having conversations about women for like the past few weeks. But I mean, when it came back down to it, as God discerned, it's always about leadership and it always starts with us.
Right.
And I'm glad we were able to come like full circle and see how how everyone can work together to try to make that possible. And Joe made that possible.
And let me ask you this, Sir Hill. So what do you say to the guys out there? Because I think part of the problem is you have most men right now that are 30, 28, 35. And as a psychiatrist would say, their bodies are 35, but inside they're 10. And I was watching Ayanla say something. It was so profound. She said at the age that you have the trauma is where you are imprisoned in your mind unless you get help to release it. And so a lot of men are walking around here sleeping with this woman, sleeping with this woman, sleeping with this woman, doing this. But in their minds, they're 10. That trauma happened to them at 12 or 13 or when they're uncles. Because we know I'm from the South. You know, your uncles, hey, boy, you ain't getting none. Boy, you better go over there and hit that thing, boy. You were judged based on how many women you could slay.
Straight up.
And even when you were 12 and 10, your uncles, hey, boy, you ain't getting up. Boy, something must be wrong with him. Aisle 5 at Walmart, And they used to call you Aisle 5 at Walmart because that's where the sugar was.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, never heard that.
And so you used to hear those little jokes. Hey man, I hope you ain't walking down aisle 5. And I'm like, no, I'm not walking down on damn aisle 5. And so people would, and so you would hear those things growing up, and you would experience those things. I get a lot of, I guess it's a lot of men out here that are trapped, and women too. I'm not gonna leave them out. There's a lot of women out here that have trauma at 8 years old, and there's still a little 8-year-old girl in their mind. You wonder, like, ain't no grown woman supposed to be acting like that. But that's the 8-year-old girl that was never freed because she didn't sit down and get the help that she needed. And we've normalized
recognizes the trauma.
Yeah,
they don't even know it's trauma.
Right. We've normalized toxicity to the point we don't even realize the trauma. But I'll let you talk on that. One of y'all, anybody, go ahead.
First of all,
I will speak on it from kind of like from a woman perspective.
Yes,
and I agree. I agree with you, Black Man Unfiltered, that a lot of time things happen to us, whether it's sexual trauma, whether it's psychological trauma, whatever type of trauma it is, whatever age that it happened, that's where it stick. I was in therapy and I had to actually go back to a time when I was 10 years old to actually deal with my abandonment issues, right? Because my mom, she was in an abusive relationship and she ended up leaving. And then when she ended up leaving, it kind of put me in a position where I'm like, I left everything. And even though at 36 years old, I still had to go back, unpack everything that was going on and deal with that 12-year-old girl. And I would have never, let me tell you something. Black women, a lot of times we aren't taught to go to therapy. I had to learn that from a man. And Lady Hell done made a lot of money. Okay. She made a lot of money. And we were having a conversation one day, and my husband said, out of all this money you done made, crafting, selling t-shirts, giving advice, all this stuff, doing these classes, you telling me you couldn't go to therapy? You couldn't go and get that yourself? And it hurt my feelings because at first I couldn't believe he was talking like that. He the man, he's supposed to be paying for that. If you say I need it, you're supposed to be paying for it. But it had, when he put it on me and he put the accountability on me. See, a lot of us women, we don't have the accountability piece, right? Because we're always told that it's somebody else's fault.
Oh my God. I'm finna start shouting.
When he put that question on me, it offended me because how dare Sir Hell talk to me like that? But in offense, it helped me unpack and say, you need to get your stuff together, Lady Hell. I love my husband and my husband will do anything for me, but I can't make my mental space solely on him. That's not his responsibility. First of all, that's God. But you know, even I don't know if y'all ever heard of the Crimson Cure. She even made a
she's dope.
Yeah, she's dope.
She made a point, and she said this. She said that women will spend $400 on a weave and not even $10 on their own food. We'll spend $400. You know, I know me. Every time I go get my braids, it costs me $220. Like when I get my braids, it costs me $220. It only costs $140 for 4 weeks of therapy.
But they ain't even priced it.
They don't want to pay.
They ain't even priced it.
I didn't. And you're right, Brother Lance. I didn't even price it because I'm thinking it's so expensive. It's gonna be that. And some of us got insurance, so it could be covered under insurance. And we just have to be as women. We have to be held accountable, and also we have to go seek the help ourselves, because a lot of times we put the help on our pastors, our dads, our uncles, our husbands, etc. And sisters, if you're listening as well, you can get therapy. It's very better. Ernest, you can speak a little bit more on the therapy part side.
Hey, babe, you got to say, sir. Hey, you can't say Ernest. I lost my.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Hey, you got to audio that out.
I'm gonna take. I got no Ernest, man.
I'm sorry, sir.
No. So what you said is spot on. But for the person on here who's dealing with trauma, one of the things I've noticed is people get stuck when they're not believed. Either they didn't believe, somebody didn't believe that it happened, and they felt stuck and they felt silenced. So for anybody who's on here who is stuck, whether it's your 8-year-old or your 10-year-old self and something happened and nobody believed you, I want to say I'm sorry and I believe you, whatever that is. Sometimes just believing and acknowledging that what happened to you happened. I cannot tell you how many people I have heard, like, y'all listen to me, young girls who done been molested at 8 years old and their mama didn't believe them.
Oh,
Little boys being molested, they wouldn't believe. And what boys is even worse, because we just told to shake it off. And we get stuck. We get stuck in a place we would not believe. And that trauma is literally it's an escape room where we are constantly going through different layers of experience, screaming to the top of our lungs, going through motions, trying to get somebody to freaking hear us. So for the person on here who may be watching this and may see this later, we believe you. I am sorry that happened to you. Now that we've acknowledged that,
Matt,
you deserve
I want
be
to add
free.
one note to that. I want to add one note to that, to the people who were traumatized as a child, and it was accepted because their parents were traumatized and their parents were traumatized. Also, you can change your pattern of thinking.
Absolutely.
You don't have to believe that that's okay. Because for some
You
people,
deserve
that's
to be
just
better.
what they were told, that's just what it was.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It is not. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be whole. And you'll know that you're dealing with trauma because when you're trying to move forward, you kill everything you touch. See, this is why people keep on destroying relationships. They keep on destroying marriages. It's not because they want to, but like if you've worked at a company before, that you got to go through training. And part of that is hazardous materials. And it teaches you that there are certain things you handle in a certain kind of way, and that if you touch this kind of thing, there's a certain amount of like certain protection, whether it's gloves or protective gear. What has happened to a lot of us is we have a lot of hazardous materials in our emotions, hazardous materials in our mind, hazardous materials in our sexuality, and because we don't have the protective gear to deal with that, and we're trying to go from relationship to relationship and from situation to situation, what we're doing is we're taking our hazards and we are putting it on other people, and we're corrupting them. And because we are unaware that we're doing that, we point out the toxicity in them, not realizing that they got infected by us. So we got to take some accountability of our own self and really look in the mirror. And the mirror is a hard place to look, because you see stuff you don't want to see. You find out that you got marks that you didn't know were there. It is a transparent thing. But if you do that, you have to look into the mirror now, because if you don't look into the mirror now, there's going to be a yard full of corpses from the people you kill. Mothers killing their children, not physically, but killing their self-esteem, killing their emotions. Wives killing their husbands, husbands killing their wives, not physically, but on a psychological level. So you got to look in the mirror and then say, I deserve to be whole from this. Because when you living in a prison, you're going to imprison everybody else. They can't be free to be who they are. They can't be free to be great, because you need somebody to be in your prison. And it is true, misery loves company.
Yep.
The sad part is misery needs company.
It does.
And so if we don't look into the mirror and have love for ourselves to want to get out, we're going to keep pulling people in, and we're going to have a community full of people who are broken, who are tragic, and still going to church. Still going to church, shouting while in prison, praying while in prison, marrying while in prison. So we got to get whole, because this is how we change the next generation. No one's coming to unlock us. We have to do this for ourselves. And so this is why we have to have these conversations, because there's too many of us, we're stuck in trauma, not because we want to be, but trying to reconcile, how the heck did my mama believe me? How did my pastor believe me? And it's doubly worse when the people who's supposed to believe you are the ones putting you in a position to where you feel abused. And then we got the epidemic of parents who were not equipped to be parents, these sex babies, that we only had the baby because we were having illicit sex. We don't know who the father is.
Ooh, sir.
Mother don't know who she is. And mama's in her 40s still trying to figure out who she is. And so the streets are raising our kids, and the same thing with the men. We got to get back. We got to get back. We got to get back to the place where we understand where our brokenness is and our trauma, and we have to deal with that.
Right.
And it takes time. Like if you've dealt with 10 years worth of issues, you can't go 1 week and think that's going to fix it.
That's
It's
right.
a process. It's a consistent desire to change my mindset. Can I be for real with you? I was toxic. When I met my wife, let me be transparent, I was toxic. The reason we moved to Texas is because I was at a church, and the apostle there was, he was a
Pedophile.
yeah. So, and because it had gotten out, and there were some things that were tried with me, and then with other relatives and people, the word got out, and so we moved from Indiana to Texas. That's why it all happened. We never really addressed that, never took that. And I told you earlier, I didn't go to school. I was taken out. I had traumas. And what happens to people who are not heard? These people are angry people.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they realize it or
nobody heard
not.
them. Exactly.
They don't even know it, but they just walk
Don't even
around
know it.
angry.
Right. And it goes back to something Martin Luther King said when they were doing the rioting, when all this stuff happened with George Floyd. Martin Luther King said the rioters are the voices of the unheard.
I love that.
Right.
I love that.
Yes, exactly.
And that's what happened. I was angry. I was unheard. And who you going to express that with? The person closest to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we have to do sometimes is the people who are close to you are mirrors. They're showing you. This is what's hard. This is why what Lance was saying earlier about men needing to be leaders. And I don't necessarily know that answer either, Miss Ellis. I ended up getting my GD. I ended up going to get me an associate's degree, and I'm completing a bachelor's degree in software development. So I had to make a change. So it ain't no sad story. I'm just letting you know the power of God's grace. Mm-hmm. And so I had to. My wife was my mirror, and I found myself angry with her when she was really just a reflection of myself. And so that's why no matter how much work she put in as a wife, it's never enough because I don't see her. I see myself. Mm-hmm. And unless I do me, and unless I fix me, I'll always see something wrong with her because she's my mirror. And this is what we all have to realize, that the people who are closest to us are our mirrors. And either you can put the onus on them to make the change, or you can humble yourself and say, I got work to do. Right. This is on me. This one is on me. And you don't have to be the leader of everybody to be a leader. You can be a leader in your life. Mm-hmm. You can lead your emotions. You can lead yourself. And everybody has to do that. So I don't preach enough, but I wanted to speak that because I know what it's like to deal with trauma and to feel trapped. You got to acknowledge, be heard, but then you got to take the steps and do the work. You can't have just because you have a story that people can relate to and it's touching, you have to move beyond wanting people to understand your pain to you wanting people to see you whole. Okay. And I think a lot of people get trapped with the story about what happened, and they don't want to write new chapters. So that's what I wanted to share with you. I thank you for the question. I hope I answered it.
And you know what else? I know. I want to say this, Kaylin. I got you. I don't want to try to mock TD Jakes and using, everybody listen. But no, I don't want to do that. But he said something that was so profound. He said that the trauma is the construction site, but the builders. What did he say? The trauma is the construction site, but the builders are the people that go to the construction site and build a wall. And then when they see different people coming, they'll keep building it. And then before you know it, when they turn around, the wall's all the way around them. And they're trapped in their trauma. Mm. They're trapped on the construction site. And he said, when you get trapped on the construction site, nobody can find you in a pillar of concrete. And he said to be able to get out of that situation, you have to be willing to find someone with a sledgehammer that's willing to knock those things down, to willing to make you better, to help you get better. But the thing in the Black community, therapy has always been like a cancer. It's always been like, oh, you crazy as hell. If you're going to therapy, you throw it off. You
straight up.
Yeah. I mean, that's in the Black community. If somebody saw I just seen Uncle Stu get on here.
Yeah, I saw him too.
Yeah, Doc. But anyway, Uncle Stu, if you want to come on, I'll drop the link in the chat. But yeah, so a lot of people, it's always therapy. It's always, oh girl, you in therapy? Ooh, girl, wait, she crazy as hell. You know, it's always you're crazy. But when you actually get to therapy, because I've never said it, but I've said I use BetterHelp. I don't know if anybody else uses that.
I do too.
We do.
Yep.
We do too.
Right. So BetterHelp is amazing, especially when you got a job and they pay for it. Thank you, Jesus. BetterHelp is amazing. They put you with the right people. They ask you all the questions of things that's going on in your life. Are you married? How many kids you got? What stresses are you dealing with? Trauma? Are you religious? Are you nervous? I mean, they get everything down and they get you with the right person, and you can sit and just talk through things. And one of the things that Lance always calls me out on, is that he says that I'm traumatized and I haven't gotten help for the trauma that was in me as a child. And one of those things was at 12 years old, I had a 48-year-old girlfriend, basically. And and she pretty much taught me the game. This is how you do this. This is what a woman wants. This is what she likes. This is how you speak to one. This is how you cuddle with one. This is how you keep your stamina. It was everything from the time I was 12 up until I was probably 17. And Mama used to be like, why are you always going over there raking them Leah morning? I said, oh, Mama, she just, you know, she don't have no man over there, and she's, you know, she needs my help. You know,
Black man, I just want to confirm the raking the leaves and mowing the lawn, is that figurative or is this literal?
Well, the yard was clean. Really? Say that.
I just want to be sure. I just want to be clear.
Oh my God! So I couldn't even get it. I wanted to sing that part, but I couldn't even get it out. So no, I mean both. Yeah,
and that's crazy because, like, even just hearing you say that, I just got this thought in my head. You learn how to take care of a superficial woman before you learn how to take care of your true, authentic self.
Man,
that's crazy. At 12
Absolutely.
years old, you were allowed to put yourself off your own pedestal. That's manipulation.
And this happened at 12?
Manipulation.
Huh?
12. This happened at 12?
Yeah. Because I was there, and then it just one day she was like, no. What happened was I walked in the house because I used to mow yard. She paid me a look $25 or whatever, and I used to walk in the house and I'll look over. And one day I walked in and she was there in a gown and nothing, and I was supposed to be outside though. And I looked, I said, "Ooh!" In my head, I said, "Whoa!" You know, I was 12. I was like, "What am I looking at right now?" You know, and she was like, "Oh, you want to see? You can see. Oh, you want to touch? Oh, you go ahead. I'm not gonna say nothing." And it started there. And boom, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. This is what you do. This is what you do. This is how you do this. This is how you do this. I'm going to teach you how to do this. When you're with a woman, you do this. You always. And she used to say, I'm going to teach you how to be undefeated. You will always be great in the bedroom. You'll always be a great talker. I'm going to make sure that how you carry yourself. I was like, okay. And as I got older, you know, I have people like Lance that know the story and says, oh, you're so traumatized and you need to go get therapy for that. But to be honest, I never felt any displacement or abandonment issues or anything like that afterwards. To me at the time, it was, okay, this is fun. I got me an old girlfriend. She buying me stuff. She let me drive her little car around the corner. We good. But, you know, I mean, what do you
violated?
Mm-hmm.
Just because you enjoy doesn't mean you weren't violated.
Yeah,
I think that's why sometimes we don't perceive trauma as trauma. It's because it was fulfilling in some area, but you were violated, absolutely, hands down.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I guess I got to go back to my therapist.
Yeah.
I mean, because like again, I didn't see it. At the time, like you just said, violation. I didn't see anything wrong with it. But then on the flip side of it, you know, hearing other people talk about it. Oh my God, Uncle Stu just dropped in this building, y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Uncle
Stu.
Salute. Uncle Stu, we just got through watching your clip, man, from the Anton show when you took over water church, man. How's the family doing, man? Can you hear me?
Look like we might be on a delay.
I think you're on mute, Uncle Stu.
Yeah. Yeah, he fixing it up. But yeah, man. So yeah, but you know, that's a deep thing for me because again, this lady, we used to go to church, and I never told my mom because my mama would have be in prison now. My mom would have cut her up. It'd been bad. But because my mama didn't play about her babies. But at the same time, this lady used to talk to my mama. We used to go to church and sit by this lady. She would bring my mama stuff to the house. They used to have this little ball thing every year for the adults. She'd come over and give the tickets and be winking at me, you know. And I'm like, dude, this lady is friends with my mama. Like, whoa. And you know, I've never sat down and told my mama this. And now the lady, she passed away. She had cervical cancer or something like that. But she passed away from stage 4, I think cervical cancer or something. I forgot. But she passed away, and I told my mom, well, she knows now because she watched one of my lives. And she was like, "You didn't tell me." She's like, "I'm gonna go shoot at the grave." I'm like, "What you gonna shoot at the grave?" She's dead. Mama, she's dead. You know,
it's old for you. It's new for her.
Yeah. She said, "I'm gonna go shoot in the grave," and I'm like, "No, Mama, she gone. Ain't nothing gonna happen. You know, she's gone." But you know, I mean, that's where I was, and to get therapy for that, I mean, I look at it back then like, oh, it's fun, but then Lance all the time, nope, you're traumatized. You need to go get some help for that. You need to go get some help for that, and I'm like, oh my God. But I will do that because for me,
but at least you came open with it, and that's one of the things why people respect you so much, and that's why they respect your platform that you're on now, and that's why they come to you. It's because you are open, and that's and I swear, as Black people, if we were just transparent, truly lived in the light, because ain't nothing wrong with the light. If somebody hates you for your honesty, it's bad enough hating yourself already. Good God. You have to tell yourself, look in the mirror and tell yourself you love you every day. If you're keeping people around you that think otherwise, then I mean, you need to come into the light and go ahead and just let them do what they do. Because if somebody can't accept you just for you just telling them who you are, just telling them who you are, that's a whole problem in itself. You're going to end up being everything that somebody else wants you to be.
Right.
And that's never a good place to be.
Right.
And that's I feel like that's exactly where she put you at. She put you in a place where you were set to fulfill something for somebody else. But you could never really do that if you never really fulfilled yourself. Like, how could you possibly find the right woman if you never got a chance to build the right man?
Right. Oh man, you preaching too today, Lance.
I'm just saying.
I mean,
ain't nothing wrong with living in the light. Anybody tell you different, there's something wrong with them.
But you know what? And again, I appreciate the fact that that I can be that open. But the thing is, Lance been known me for 10 years because we worked together at this company, and I've always been this way. I mean, since I was a kid, I'm always going to be straightforward. I'm always going to tell you what I'm thinking. Sometimes it may not come out right. I have to work on that. But you know, I'm always going to be honest. I'm always going to tell you the truth, whether you like it, whether you don't. If you want to go step outside and hug each other real tight and get over it, we can do that. But at the same time, I just feel like people being transparent about your issues and about your concerns are beautiful. Even in relationships, like you just said it, like Talk Hell, and you just said it, Sir, same thing. You guys get into it, but you're honest.
You have to be. You have to be honest about what you're feeling, how you feel. What, like, you know, like you said, I know me, sometimes when I talk, I could come off harsh, and my husband, he'll say, wait a minute, wait a minute, Lady Hell, and he'll say, it's so nice. Wait a minute, Lady Hell, now who are you talking to? and then depending on how I feel, I might, you know, but that's my key to say, oh, Crystal, you're talking harsh. And so it'll force me to like really change depending on how I communicate with him. Because if I communicate with him with masculine energy, guess what's gonna happen? I'm gonna get all that masculine energy back. But if I address him in my feminine energy or feminine, then he ain't gonna come at me like. But if I address he ain't gonna come at me like no man, and we're able to communicate and get an understanding.
Hey,
and
Uncle Stu, turn your YouTube off in the background, Uncle Stu.
And to Black Men Unfiltered, something that I think a lot of times when we're violated as children is that we automatically think because I participated, I wasn't forced, then it was consent.
Yeah.
You know, then you like,
that is a fantastic point.
Yes.
I consented to that. And so since I consented to that, it wasn't no misuse. They didn't trick me or anything like that. But at 12 years old, we're not thinking as a full functioning adult. We are thinking as a child. You know that the pituitary gland that's right there in the middle of our head is not even matured until we are 25 years old. So we at 12, we're not even thinking rationally. We're irrational thinkers. And that 42-year-old woman, she's a rational thinker. She know what she was doing. And because even though you said I agree to that, I did that, she didn't force me, she still abused you, and she was wrong for that.
I want to. Can I piggyback with what Lady Talk just said?
Oh yeah.
Black people have no problem talking. We have a problem hearing. When we hear something, we either hear the piece that makes sense to us, we don't hear each other. We don't listen well. And if we're going to overcome trauma, I have seen people say this happened to me, and because the person didn't want to accept it, they dismissed what it was. We have to learn to live in truth. And sometimes truth is your brother is a pedophile. Mama, your sister, your friend did this. And we have to stop assuming that just because you've known somebody for 10 or 15 years and you've not experienced them in this area, that they are not capable of performing something terrible. Like in your case, what happened, Black Men Unfiltered. So Black people, we're professional speakers. We have to pick up our skills when it comes to hearing and listening and accepting the truth, because Black people will talk your ear off and they'll fall asleep when it's time to listen.
Oh, Uncle Stu, come on.
First of all, let me say,
Uncle Stu,
what's going on, Sir Hale Speaks. Hello to the channel, to the chat. Appreciate the love, and appreciate the prayers. Yes, tomorrow it's going to be a huge day, and then I'll be off to doing other things. So, like I said, what I'm going through right now, it ain't nothing but God tested me in my will and everything else, and it is all right. It just gives me a new vocabulary, a new language, and it allows me to see, so that people can see what is really authentic. It is extremely easy to get up and preach to the people. But, the book of Jeremiah says, there was a time where he says, I didn't want to preach your word. Why? Yeah. Because I'm going through so much, pardon my expression, I'm going through so much hell preaching your word that I'm getting sick and tired of preaching your word. But your word is like fire shut up in my bones. It just won't leave me alone. So, there's too many people who always want to talk about being on the mountaintop, but they ain't ready to preach this valley message yet.
Let's go,
So when you're ready to preach the valley message, that's when you're ready to do what you got to do, because you can't lead the people in the valley unless you've been to the valley. So, when you start talking about trauma, you got to understand what is a trauma. A trauma is a deep pain, right? Right now I'm in the city of Hampton, Virginia, and see the very place that enslaved you, you might have to go back to that same place in order to free you. That's what people don't understand about going back to the trauma. See, the trauma is what froze you, but you got to go back to the trauma, speak to the trauma, and then say trauma be gone, and then keep on walking. I totally agree with you, Sir Hale Speaks, when you say more Black people, what they like to do is hear. But I changed that word to hear, because in order to hear, you got to have a heart. Spell out the word heart. You take the T, you got to hear. Then you take away the R, you got to hear. And then when you take away the H, you got the ear. But if you don't have an ear to hear, then you cannot hear anything I'm saying, because you don't have a heart of the matter. So we have to learn how to get to the heart of the matter in order to solve the matter. But the problem is that we don't want to get to the heart of the matter. Why? Because out of the mouth, the heart shall speak. And a lot of us is still speaking junk because we would rather take in junk food than taking in the actual nutrition that God gave.
My God, Stu.
Taking junk food.
Serve them the food, please.
Stu. Hey, Sir Hill, I can't even say nothing right now.
But I mean, all of y'all, all of y'all has been speaking good word. Y'all been saying the right things. You know, you have been speaking facts. So you just keep doing what you're doing and just keep speaking what you're speaking. Unfortunately, my people just don't want to hear. They like junk food. They like the potato chips, the candy, the cookies, and the soda. They don't want no carrots and apples and fruits. Oh my, you know, because that might make them healthy. And then they're not justified to keep doing what they're doing. So as long as I can justify living in my pain, I can justify hurting you. But when I can no longer justify hurting you, then guess what? The mirror gets flipped back on me.
Exactly. What do you do when you lose
so what is justice? Just us. And we are the only ones that is in the just us system because we just us acting like a fool.
I would hate for all us to be somewhere. Just ain't nobody safe. Golly.
Come on.
Dude.
Can't nobody hide when you're in the light. Can't nobody hide. Once you release that pain, you don't even have to release it. Acknowledge it. Your spirit will become you, and you will have to do something about it. If you don't, you'll have to make a choice.
Right.
It's never gonna let you sedentary. Either you're gonna harden or you're gonna set on fire. Just acknowledgement, though. And that's why people have this junk, because they can't get to that part. It's too hard. It's too hurtful. They just keep hoping that it goes away, and it goes away, but it never does.
Well, let me help you with that one, man. You got to understand that some people love doing what they're doing. You got to understand that people love sin. You know what I'm saying? So if I love sex and that's all I love, then don't you dare tell me about being with one woman. Do you understand? So, and if I'm a woman and I want to be a hoe and I would like to get slammed up by 4 or 5 men, don't you dare tell me about cleaning myself up, getting the Holy Ghost filled, fire baptized. Don't tell me that, because I love sin. So why are we making this thing like this is a new phenomenon? If there's nothing new under the sun, what did he say? He said people hate the light. Hate. He didn't say people just want to slide from the light. He said hate it. So how dare you come in with your light and then you're going to shine and show my dirt? Don't you understand that I got to find the dirt on you? This is why they say, aren't you the son of the carpenter? Why did they say that? Because they'll always try to remember your past, but they never want to remember the glory that you came in with.
Listen, Uncle Stu, as you were talking about that, like we often talk about junk and why people like junk. The reason why people like junk is because it's affordable. It don't cost very much. You get it for cheap. You get $4 for $1. But to have good stuff, it's gonna cost you something. And most people would rather have quantity over value, because value is going to cost you something. And we're living in an age where people don't want to go through the cost it takes to be something of value, because it's easy getting junk food. It's easy having multiple women. It's easy having multiple men having junk food. And the only time it changes is when you get an upset stomach and you get sick of being sick.
I'm going to accept everything that you just said. Everything. I agree. But guess what?
I want to say to the people out there, though, that do think that they have something of value and they are eating junk. It's okay. It's all you know. That's the only sustenance that you've been given, probably from birth. So don't feel attacked. Please don't feel attacked. It's just that
we all been on junk food. Let's be real.
All have. And may again one day, not above it. Some candy is so sweet that we might but just remember, once you've had nutrition, you will never forget it. Once you've had something good, it will never let you go. It will never let you go. So just know that don't think like you're getting attacked or you feeling like you're getting talked about or anything like, because I remember I used to feel like I was getting attacked. I'm like, I'm a well-balanced person. Like, I don't understand why people are saying this about me or saying that about me. And I had to really like look at myself and just be like, they're not attacking me. Like they're just making a statement of what they see that I refuse to see. That's it. And once you get that good food, so just know you're not being attacked. You just ain't had that meal yet. That one good meal will set your whole fucking life right. Oof.
We're not attacking you. We're surrounding you in love.
That's
Exactly.
Right. That's right.
Love is accountability. But go ahead, Uncle Stu.
Yeah, I totally agree with the last two statements. Absolutely. If I can just add, a lot of times we only eat what we was first introduced to. So if you was introduced to junk, then junk is all you know. If you was introduced to imitation food, then imitation food is all you know. So once you've eaten nothing but imitation, that's all you know. But when you finally get a taste of the real organic thing and understand what the organic flavor is, then that's exactly what you're going to eat, and that's exactly what you're going to consume. But some of us needs to take a fast, because what fasting do is going to take away the desire of what the imitation food does. And fasting is going to transform your mind, your heart, your soul. And once you are able to detox from the very things that you've been toxifying your body with, then your body can now be transformed and made whole to the point that when you do taste that imitation food, it'll begin to taste nasty to you. So some of us just need to fast. We need to turn off social media. We need to turn off our body. We need to turn off the garbage that we're putting in our mind, allow that stuff to detox out of us so that we can start putting the pure things in us. This is why he says, I can't give you new wine. Why? Because you are still in old skin. You know, so I can't give you a fresh word because you still got a dirty body. You cannot deal with a clean man if you're a dirty woman. You can't deal with a clean woman if you're a dirty man, because as soon as that dirt hit that which is clean, it's going to become what? Toxic all over again. So many of us just really need to understand that the reason you can't get a good man is because you're a toxic woman. And the reason that you can't get a good woman because you're a toxic man. So one day you just going to have to fast from all that toxicity and be transformed by the renewing of your mind to prove what is the good and perfect will of the Father for you. But the problem is, I don't want to fast because I'm still hungry, because I believe I have to have 3 meals a day. I believe I have to have that junk. I believe I have to have all of this and I have to have all of that. But I come to tell you that devil is a liar. So until you want to recognize the lie over the truth, your actions will still be the same. So if you're still doing the same thing last year and you keep fighting about what you was doing last year, then what it tells me over and over and over again is that you have an addictive personality. And what is an addiction? It is somebody that uses substances to do what? They claim they're using it to solve a problem, but they don't realize that all they're doing is causing more problems. It's just like the crackhead. The crackhead only is doing drugs to do what? It's not that he's addicted to the drug, he's addicted to the high. And what is the addiction? It's to take away what? The pain, not realizing that when that high comes down, the pain is still there and it's even multiplied. You know, so we got to recognize that some of our situations is multiplied not by the white man, not by the man, not by the woman, but by your own man, yourself.
Man, you know what? Let me add to that before the fire go out. Because even though when we go to, like you said about the food, and when you taste the organic, what's good for you, it may not taste good at first, but know that it's working for your good. See, so we have to. Don't get me started.
Don't do that, Bishop. Don't do that, Bishop. Don't do that.
Even though it may not taste good, it's working for the good. And the Bible says, "Taste and see." Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm gonna leave it alone because
that's it. That's the drop the mic moment. Taste and see.
Taste and see.
Because what when Cain killed Abel and he asked Abel, before he killed him, he gave him one question. He says, if you do good,
Yeah.
will I not reward you also?
Yeah. Come on.
If
If my
Come
people who are called by my name turn from their wicked ways, will I not heal their land?
Yeah.
If my people believe in me, will I not save you? The question is, if was a fifth, will be all what? I don't
Come
even
on,
need to say it because
Stop.
y'all know what needs to be said.
Come on, Stu.
So, y'all keep doing what you doing and you keep speaking the way you speaking. And you keep dropping the knowledge, you keep dropping the seeds, and you just keep the fire going and don't let that fire be burnt out.
I'm saying I feel very anointed on this day as today. And I truly feel blessed to be in y'all's presence. I really appreciate. I'm so glad I got on tonight.
I'm excited that I got
Same
on as
too.
well. Because you and Bishop, y'all said something that was so powerful. You begin to talk about the if.
Yeah.
And we know that in the Bible, if is a conditional word.
Come on.
And a lot of times, us as people, whether black, white, male, female, whatever, we don't want to accept the conditions. We only want to accept what we want or our desire or our flesh. But there's conditions to everything. Even what's that in Deuteronomy, where it say, if you obey me and keep my words, you'll be blessed in the city, blessed in the field, blessed in you coming in, blessed that you're going out, right? And then it says, and if you don't, you're gonna be cursed in the city, cursed in the field, cursed in your coming in, cursed in your going out, or whatever, right? And there's all these conditions, and a lot of people, they can't get with the conditions because they're not disciplined. And a lack of discipline, nobody is going to agree to any of the conditions. And that's why people run away from religion. That's why people run away from structure and all that, because of no discipline.
That's my wife.
Okay, so
That's my wife. I just want to make that known.
I'm glad you made that known, Mr. Hale. I guess we can now, shut down the stream. I ain't even mad at you. I'll send you my tithes and offering in the morning, First Lady. I got you.
Uncle Stu,
But
even though the things that you're going through right now, man, I just want you to know that I'm praying for you and your family and your time loss. And so, I don't know how I can't say I understand how you feel at this moment, but I'm praying for you and your family, man. I
appreciate you.
I don't know what you're going through, but I will be praying with you as well, sir.
Well, thank you. Thank you. The word that's about to go out next week, I'll drop you a seed, and y'all take the seed and keep it running. The question of the week is going to be, how do you take care of the caregiver?
Come on.
So that's the word for the week.
How do you take care of the caregiver?
Right.
Wow.
So we'll just leave it right there.
Everybody got quiet.
That's heavy.
That's my question. Why you playing?
So that's my word for next week. So that'll be one of the projects I'm working on.
Wow.
Is when the caregiver needs care. How do you take care of the caregiver?
And you know what? Let me ask this question, because I think it's a question that because I'm more of a if you watch me for a while, I'm more of a straightforward, hold you accountable type guy. Mm-hmm. And I've been told that just don't work. And but so in this day and time, when you see something out of line, because I have 3 daughters, and the world that we live in today is just so much that's going on. So, and me being sometimes I can be, I guess, harsh when it comes to being direct and what my daughters see. Because let me give you an example. One show we had, I think it was about 4 weeks ago, we talked about my daughter was talking, I guess she heard it at school or something, I don't know. But they were talking about, my daughter was saying something about the slut walk. And I couldn't believe, I say, the slut walk, yeah, Dad, at school, they said, women should embrace themselves and be sluts, because there's nothing wrong with being a slut because you can do the slut walk. and I already knew what the slut walk was because that's something Amber Rose came up with, where you walk, where the ladies get all slutty dressed up and they walk down this red carpet and they say we embracing our femininity and we can dress what we want to wear, where we want to wear. And my daughter's 11, and so if she's hearing that at 11 at school when I'm not around, it's just that fear factor for me. I mean, I pray, you pray for your babies. But when they hit that world and they leave and they go to school and they around other people, it's a fear factor for me. And I think that's what fuels me to be so direct.
Okay.
So what advice would you guys give me on being so direct? Well, no, not being so direct, but actually just how to handle. Am I doing it the right way, or or there's something better I can do as far as moving forward? It's holding accountable.
I feel like
as a man with 4 daughters, that's why there's never a book on parenting, because your daughters is individuals. So as individuals, I would definitely have to say that that's an individual choice, and I don't think that it'll be right, at least for me on my level, to try to tell you how to parent your daughters and how to speak to them, because they're under your tutelage, they're under your authority.
Good night, Sister Hale. Good night,
yeah.
Good
so
night.
it would be very hard for me to navigate that answer. I would probably have to get more information that I wouldn't want you to make public on a public platform.
Absolutely. And you got my information. So, you got my information. So,
yeah. So we'll do that on a private, conversation based on the general information you gave me. Keep doing what you're doing, because this is a fight and this is a war.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't hear you talking about you trying to string up on a tree and do anything crazy. So you just keep doing what you're doing. I don't know how I would handle situations if I was raising my daughters today versus when I was raising them 10, 15 years ago, so that makes a big difference. Right. But I just jumped on here. I heard the conversation. You invited me up, so I had to honor that.
Absolutely, man.
I'm going to jump off of here and get ready to handle what I got to handle. I only got one more day, and then I'm back on fire.
Prayers to you.
Same here. I love each and every one of y'all. May the peace and blessing of God go with you. Keep up the good work.
Thanks for blessing us. Appreciate it.
All right, Aaron, man. Hey, appreciate you, man, for hanging in there with us, man. Sure. Always, bro. Hey, come back next Friday, man. We'll be here 8:00 next Friday. If you want to drop in on Tuesday nights, we here on Tuesday nights. The whole crew will be here on Tuesday at 8:30. So 8:30 on Tuesdays, and we'll have Cooking with the Kings on Friday.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, man. Hey, love you guys. Right. Appreciate you guys. Uncle Stu, you're in my prayers. Lance. All right, we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.
Guys, when I tell you that was one of the most amazing shows that we've had, it's just, I don't even have words. I don't have words. I'm just writing down some stuff right here, guys. I'm gonna just stay on for just a little bit more. But tonight was amazing. We here on Tuesdays, and so man, I don't know, man. Tonight was I don't know, because Tuesday let me tell you how God works before I go. On Tuesday, I can show you in my phone. On Tuesday, we were going to talk about, already before this even happened and changed. It didn't change the mindset of me, but let me tell you how God works. On Tuesday, we were going to talk about identity crisis. If y'all think I'm lying, let me show you. Identity crisis. I already made the thumbnails. I've already let me show you guys, so you won't think I'm lying. Let me show you. Let me go to it real quick. Where is it at? Oh, I know where it is. Send my screenshots. Here it is. This is what I created for next week. Identity crisis. And this led right into what I want to talk about. If you guys want to reach out to Sir Hale for coming in tonight, I left it on the bottom of the screen. I'll give you guys about 30 more seconds to go ahead and take advantage of that. His YouTube channel. All right. So I'm glad I logged on tonight too, guys. Sierra, I'll see you Tuesday. Kaylin, I know you'll be watching. And for everybody else, at Talk Hills, at Sir Hills, Uncle Stu, always gonna bring it, y'all. Even on the other platforms, man, I just fell in love with him over there on the other platforms. He's just killing it every night, and I'll just be happy to join. So, man, that was amazing. But the YouTube, CHSOCIALPR, and we'll be next week starting Cooking with the Kings on Friday. No more Reaction Friday. I'm gonna kill that idea. I'm gonna do Cooking with the Kings because I think we'll get more out of it when men come together. And then guess what? I was thinking about getting in touch with Mother and Sierra and some more ladies, maybe Kaylin if she wants to. I'll have Cooking with the Queens, and I'll get in and I'll log everybody in. I'll log out, let you guys have the show for as long as you want it. So we'll talk about that as well to get a woman's perspective, and I'll talk to Talk Hale to see if she wants to be a part of that as well. And I think that'll be a great conversation for Talk Hale as well. So a lot of ideas, a lot of things coming. So tonight birthed a lot of things that we're going to do moving forward. So I appreciate you guys. I'm going ahead and get me 2 hours or 3 hours of sleep before I have to get up and go to work. And I'll see you guys Tuesday. Oh, no, not Tuesday. Sunday. Let me talk about Sunday. Sunday, I have a guest coming on Sunday. If you guys go to the YouTube channel, you'll see it. Set a reminder. I have Tamika. What's Tamika's last name? Tamika Hawkins. She's been shaking up the city in Louisiana with a whole lot of allegations about churches and pastors doing this and pastors doing this. And so in Monroe, Louisiana. And so she has a lot to say. And I'm going to give her a platform to speak her mind, and anybody else that disagrees with her have an opportunity to speak their mind too. I'll be interviewing her on Sunday at 4:00. That's Sunday at 4 p.m. So you guys tune in. Go ahead and go to YouTube right now. Go to my channel and subscribe to that. You'll see it under my videos to come. My lives are already created there. So go ahead and subscribe and like if you did not do that tonight also. But Sunday at 4, Tuesday 8:30, Friday 8 o'clock. Peace.